it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold a candle, my candle for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be the faceless in between. Because I know you can handle it. To face the truth of the matter, it's still so much better to leave the light than drag it to your grave. Because you see what to make of this, how you can turn your own tables and work this, and take advantage of your failure like you planned to anyway. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold a candle, my candle for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be the faceless in between. You're still alive, but you've been dead inside for a long time. And I understand why. But you did this to yourself. You did this to them. You don't even remember the names. Why could anybody remember you? Why could anyone give you another shot? You know they won't. You know you deserve to be forgotten. Now you're everything you always desired. The mountains you built, the most innocent lies. All this effort to cover up what you've become. We already know. We already see. Wake up and be better before you. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold a candle, my candle for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be the faceless in between. I know it's not a good time for you. You've got too much on your mind to be so conscious and not just believing every sorry thrown away. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold a candle, my candle for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be the faceless in between. Because I know you can handle it. To face the truth of the matter, it's still so much better to leave the light than drag it to your grave. Because you see what to make of this, how you can turn your own tables and work this, and take advantage of your failure like you planned to anyway. And it's about time.
This program is a collaboration of personal opinions and individual free thought. It does not represent the views or narrative of the mainstream corporate media hacks. Viewer discretion is advised.
And here we go.
Live from the bell tower, taking a stand for your rights, your liberties, and all the bullshit in between. You're listening to Break the Bell Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the live version, every Monday night version of the Break the Bell podcast.
Yes, hello, beautiful bell breakers. It is good to be here.
You sound like you're getting shit. Are you
I-
getting sick?
No, but if I got it, it's from you.
It's not from me. You're over there. I'm over here. We got our 6 feet of social distancing, so we should be good. Based on the CDC, circa 2020, we should be okay. So
that's circa 2020, though. They change things every 6 weeks.
yeah, but I think they decided that you could be within 6 feet now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm trying to get my shit together here because my recording is not recording. So let me see if I can get my shit together.
Yes. Meanwhile, it is.
There it goes. It's recording now.
Perfect.
We're good. We're good.
Excellent.
All right. Everything just likes to fuck up right when we're getting
They
started.
like
so
to keep it close.
Yeah, it's
keep you on
just
your
like-
toes.
it's like, oh, you want to start?
Yeah.
What if
Yeah.
I threw in a wrench in your cog here and made it so something didn't work right? Remember last week, like our
Yes.
thing froze up like
Yeah.
3 times in
Yeah.
the middle of the
It was-
stream.
It was
So
ridiculous.
we made it through, though. That's
Yeah.
all that matters is we make it through.
We did.
So this week we are discussing Nuclear Armageddon. Aren't you
Yes.
excited? It's
I
been a
am.
while.
It is.
Been a
But
while
It's always
since we-
fun. You
It
know, it's always lighthearted. Tickles your heartstrings.
Yes, I haven't had my heartstrings tickled in a while, so we might as well tickle it with Nuclear Armageddon this year, or
Absolutely.
this week, not
Yes.
this year, but
No, yeah. Well, although I believe this is our 2022 edition of Nuclear Armageddon.
I want to say the last one was probably about March.
Was it March? Was it that
Because-
soon?
Well, Russia kicked off their war in Ukraine in
Oh,
February,
Right.
and looking back through articles of just kind of collecting information for tonight, I found a bunch of articles from March of
Okay.
Putin declaring nuclear war, and
Yeah.
we saw how that went.
Right.
It didn't at
Yes.
all. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm guessing our last one was probably around the March time frame, but we're due for a new one because
Yeah.
Nuclear Armageddon's back in the news, so we might as well talk about it.
It's what's hip.
It really is. It is, and I guess my question is, if you have a nuclear power that's your arch enemy
Yes.
that
Are we still arch enemies?
with Russia,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're
Okay.
still
I wasn't
arch
sure. I wasn't sure.
But if you have a nuclear power that's arch enemies, do you sit here and like push the whole nuclear narrative? Like
yeah.
he's gonna shoot a nuke at us. He's gonna do it. He's gonna.
I think I would like avoid the N word.
I would too.
Yes.
I feel like if you thought that he had that capability, that's the last thing you bring
I'd go
up.
any other way. You know,
Yeah.
be like, oh yeah, it'd suck if we got anthrax. You know.
Or man, it would suck if Putin just like stopped invading country.
Right,
you know,
yeah.
like maybe put something more
Right,
positive out in the
yeah,
atmosphere.
Right.
versus-
Instead of being like, yeah, well, you know, nobody wants nuclear war. That
Yeah.
would really blow things up.
I
you
mean,
know.
the most recent thing in the news is Biden came out and said that nuclear Armageddon is the highest risk it's been since
Yeah.
the Cuban Missile
do you
Crisis.
think he thinks it's still 1962?
He probably does.
And that's why he's like, well, it's only like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's the highest it's been since last year, 1962.
right.
The sad thing is, he's been in office almost the entire time since
that is very
since the
sad.
Cuban
Yes.
Missile Crisis. So that's what we have to work with
Yeah.
when it comes to our politicians. Is yes, they remember the Cold War.
'Cause
They
were there.
they were making some of the Cold War policies.
Right, exactly.
A lot of them probably. So, but the first thing I want to get into once we get through this pre-show is, excuse me, I'm already starting. Is Biden talking about nuclear Armageddon? And it's just
Yeah.
like, really?
Yeah.
Do we? I mean, even if your intelligence said that
Yeah.
we're at a little bit higher risk for nuclear attack from Putin, do we really want to come out and announce that we're a step closer to nuclear Armageddon? Like, what exactly does that do for people?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, do you think Putin sees that and he's like, oh, okay, well, they're on board, you know, or do you think he's more like, oh shit, man,
Maybe
they're
he's
taking this
like-
serious.
Maybe he's probably like, oh shit, he's on to us. I better go come up with a
Yeah.
different strategy.
Right.
No, that's not how this works. So, but we're going to get into that. We're going to get into this Armageddon talk. We're going to get into the possibility of like what kind of threats is Putin actually putting out there? Because the latest and greatest is Putin definitely threatened nuclear war. And so I want to dig into see if did he actually threaten nuclear war, or are we blowing things out of proportion?
You know what would be nice is if they could just like do like benign like pranks on each other, like Biden call and order Chinese food for Putin that he
Mhm.
has to pay for,
Yeah,
shit like
something
that,
stupid
you
like
know?
that. Or
Oh,
or
Biden.
why don't they just like freaking get in a ring and bare
Yes.
knuckle box?
I want to see that. That's how it should be, like
Biden
the
and
old
Putin
days,
bare
right?
knuckle boxing,
Yes.
and then the winner is the winner.
Yes.
And I don't know, what do they win? Do they win our country? Because I know for a fact
Pink
Putin's
slips.
going to win.
Yeah, I know.
I know it's not going to end well for us either.
Yeah, no. Either way, we're screwed in that fight.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll get into that. We'll get into how much of a risk are we really at? What other potential risks are sitting out there that maybe we should focus a little more on? Like there's some other countries that are out there as bigger threats of nuclear war than Putin might be. Russia has some other things, other shenanigans they're pulling that it's just like, should we really, is he going to really resort to nuclear war when he has these other things up his sleeve that it seems like he's actually carrying these out when it's almost like the nuclear war talk is just a front to get us all watching, making sure all his freaking nukes aren't moving, all his missiles and
Wouldn't
submarines.
surprise me.
And at the same time, he's like got his hackers or something like doing other shenanigans while we're not even watching. We're like, oh shit, I never saw that coming. We were watching the nukes.
Yeah, we thought the bombs were coming. Where'd that come from?
So we'll get into all that stuff here after this pre-show. We're getting ahead of ourselves. So before we get into the show, obviously, we got to mention our Nuclear Armageddon loving coffee sponsors, which is Run Your Mouth Coffee, die-hard sponsors of Nuclear Fallout and Nuclear Armageddon. They fully support your right to be able to blow up other countries with nuclear bombs. Not necessarily that, but they do support your rights. Mostly your right to free speech, your right to be able to say whatever the fuck you want. God, I can't even talk. I can't even run my mouth on my run your mouth promo.
That is unfortunate.
They support your right to run your mouth and not get censored for hate speech, not get censored for whatever bullshit they're censoring us for these days. They support all your rights, and we like to support companies that support our rights, like Run Your Mouth Coffee. They also make really good coffee,
which is a bonus.
Really good coffee. It's almost like a nuclear explosion going off in your mouth when you drink it.
It was like that.
It definitely was. Go to rymcoffee.com. Tell them we sent you by using the promo code Break the Bell, and you'll get 10% off your purchase plus free shipping. And who doesn't love discounts in this country? We're not communist China. We have discounts because the free markets allow us to have discounts.
That's the benefits of living here.
Yes, I don't think China has discounts.
Oh, fuck
nor
no.
delicious coffee.
They might take your kid, one of your kids for coffee.
Oh, I'm sure people are trading their kids for coffee there. Anyways, that's rymcoffee.com. That was long and way off track, but drink their coffee. Support.
We got there though.
Support companies that support your rights. That's it. Make sure you check us out all over social media. Go buy our garbage at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Is that it? Breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Or you can just find links to it at breakthebellpod.com. I am going to get through this pre-show. You'll find awesome merch like our I Will Not Eat Your Bug shirt, our We Are Not Your Pawn shirt. We got our logos. We got our Is This Shirt Even Real shirt, which isn't even on this picture because I haven't updated it, but
because it may not be real.
It might not be real, so maybe you'll have to buy it and find out if it's real. That's how you know if it's real. Is you have to buy it and find out.
Only here.
We need to come up with a Nuclear Armageddon shirt.
We do.
Maybe I'll work on that this week. So that's breakthebellpod.com. You'll find links for that. Otherwise, go to breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Like I said, check us out all over social media. We're on the interwebs, the Facebooks, the Twitterverse, the Insta mobiles, and all that stuff. At Break the Bell Pod. That is our handle. Check us out. Share us far and wide because that's how we get our name out there. That's how we can do bigger and better things and keep doing awesome shit like we always do. So check that out. Share it, like it, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I need to get into an intro before we completely destroy the show.
We're there. We're on the edge.
We're teetering on the edge of Nuclear Armageddon for the show. So I'm going to get into this intro, and when we come back, we are going to talk Nuclear Armageddon. Here we go.
What did you say?
You talking to me? What the heck are you talking about?
What did you say?
What did you say?
What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What are you saying?
What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Well, maybe he was talking to me.
What did you say?
Talk to me.
What in heaven's name are you talking about?
Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, baby.
What did you just say?
What did you say?
You listen to me.
Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me?
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
How did we get turned around? Were we turned around before?
We just switched seats. You were paying attention? No, I was definitely on the other side.
How does that happen?
I think.
There we go.
There we go. Do it again.
I don't want to because I'm afraid it won't get back. The reason why I have us laid out on these sides the way they are is not because I want to be the first spot on there. It's because when I look at you on the screen, it looks
Right.
like I'm looking at you.
That's true. Yeah.
Because
So we were
before I had
switched.
them flipped, you would look like it would look like I was talking to the wall over here. But
It's all good.
but yeah. There's a method to my madness, and a lot of times it doesn't work out the way I want it to. So I don't know what's going on tonight, but we're going to power through this show because who knows? It might be our last show if things go the way Joe Biden says it's going
Absolutely.
to, and nuclear Armageddon happens.
Yes.
It's like
you can only hope.
I don't even know why, as a U.S. president, you would ever even just just loosely play around with the idea of
No.
nuclear Armageddon. It's just like, God forbid that ever happen. Let's not go there.
Yeah.
Let's exhaust all the other resources before we even suggest that that's an option.
Yeah. I mean, even Reagan, who was smack dab in the Cold War, not once was like, well, they were pretty close to being nuked.
Maybe after the fact, he comes out and he's like, guys, you have no idea how
Yeah.
close we were to getting
Well,
fucked up.
Nancy.
But at the time,
Right.
everybody kind of knew it, but
Yeah, nobody
didn't-
talked about it.
didn't have
right?
I'm sure a lot of people talked about it, but you didn't have a standing president that was like, guys, this could be it. We're
Yeah.
fucked. I mean, I'm sorry. Maybe this is just the my desire to survive, but as a president, I think I would rather surrender my country than go through
Right.
the total absolute destruction of the earth as we know it.
Right.
It's like, is your country worth that much to you? Yes,
Yeah.
I understand it's worth a lot to you, but if it came down to either you give up or we're going to spark an entire nuclear holocaust where the entire world dies, it's like, I'm just gonna weigh the benefits to the risks. I'm just gonna say, you just fucking take it, man. If
Right.
that's what it is, that's what it's worth to you. Just fucking take it.
Right.
I mean, maybe I'll get some hate mail for that. Just like, you commie bastard. It's like, real. It's like, not going to take our freedom from us, no matter how many nukes it takes. It's like, yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah.
You just keep riding that. But anyways,
No, I agree. But at the same token, I don't feel like Biden's the guy that's going to die on that pill.
you don't think he's going to be the one to push the nuclear button?
No, he
Did-
will. He
did-
will.
Do you believe the rumors? I think we might have talked about this last time we talked nuclear. Do you believe the rumors that they didn't give him the nuclear briefcase?
Oh, I believe that.
Because
Absolutely.
he's too demented
Yeah.
to be held responsible.
If they were too afraid of Trump having it, they got to be too afraid of Biden doing it.
one would think, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe none of them have it.
Biden be like, hey, Jack, I
Hey,
don't know what
Jack.
this button does, but I'm pushing it.
No. I'm serious, man. I'm serious. This
Yeah.
button right here. No. I'm serious.
Yeah.
You think when he's giving those speeches and he does so many side tangents, and he's like, he's just so used to people disagreeing with him that just like everything he says, like, no, wait, hear me out. It's like, dude, everybody's like giving you standing ovations. What are you arguing? What are you so argumentative about?
Because he's not. He knows it's not real.
Yes. So the latest news, the latest nuclear holocaust news that we are living with these days is Biden saying that Armageddon is at its highest risk since 1962's Cuban Missile Crisis.
You believe that?
He says Putin is not joking. No. He's not joking, man. I'm serious.
Hey,
no,
hey,
no.
hey, Jack.
Hey, Jack.
I've seen him. I've seen him
I
looked
mean,
in his eyes.
he's a really bad dude.
Yeah, like Corn Pop.
Yes. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say, do you believe that we have not been as close to nuclear war as we are at this moment?
No, I feel like in the 80s we probably were closer
Yeah.
than in this moment.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Rocky IV, we all would have been
Obviously. So I feel like the entire Cold War we are probably closer
Oh, absolutely.
than we are right now.
I mean, yeah, I feel like at one point there was always somebody just hovering over the button. You're like, come on, give me the
just
call.
do
give me
it.
the call.
Just you do it first.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it. You do it.
Same time, man. Same
Oh, we're
time.
missing comments.
Oh.
Jack Skellington says,
Hey, Jack.
Hey guys, I'm serious. Corn Pop is a bad dude. He's helping the Russians. I need the briefcase. Absolutely.
Yes.
You think Corn Pop was a Russian spy?
Oh, he.
I feel like he had to be that bad of a dude. He
Yes.
had to have been a Russian
Yes.
spy. So anyway, back on track. This New York Post article talks about the speech that Biden gave, and this for I think it was a fundraiser event, and it's just like,
Yes, it was.
of all the things to talk about
Yeah.
at a fundraiser, what was it raising funds for? Nuclear weapons?
Right. we need to make our limit, guys. Okay, we have never been closer to nuclear war than we have this moment. So pledge
Pledge
$5
your
billion.
yes, make your pledge to the nuclear armament of the United
Yeah.
States. Sponsor a lonely orphan nuclear bomb today.
Only you.
Yes, with Sarah McLaughlin playing in the background. Says President Biden on Thursday warned that the risk of nuclear Armageddon is at the highest level since the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, amid intensifying Russian threats to unleash its nuclear arsenal. There's a lot of really scary words in these articles.
Yeah.
And I feel like his threats weren't as scary as the articles
No. I'm
claim.
Sure. Yes.
But we'll get into that in a little bit. Says the president made the alarming comment while speaking in New York at a fundraiser for the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee.
That sounds like fun.
So then, I mean, you're on a political campaign trail.
Yes.
At a political what's it called? Fundraising event.
Yes. In New York.
And the talk of nuclear arms came up. Just
Yes. That's a party.
did something
party
lead
killer.
to this or what?
Yeah.
Like, did somebody ask a question like, so if you're elected, if the Democrats do get reelected, what are they going to do about all these nuclear bombs and these
Right.
threats? He goes on to say, we have not faced the prospect of Armageddon since Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis. The increased threats from Russia come as the country is suffering massive setbacks in the 8-month invasion in Ukraine. On Monday, NATO reportedly issued an intelligence warning that Russia plans to test doomsday nuclear torpedo drones near the Ukrainian border in the Black Sea. Where are they getting this info?
Yes. Exactly. And also,
Do we trust NATO intelligence warnings?
Well, also, how exactly do you test nuclear torpedo drones?
I don't know. I don't know.
How is that
Dude,
different than testing regular drones?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Here's because I follow the trail to where they're getting this info.
Okay.
And it takes me to this Newsweek article that says, nope, that's not the one. Hang on. Hold on.
We're holding.
Nope, that's not it either. Anyways, maybe it's in this. It's somewhere. It says U.S. officials have warned Russia could use nuclear weapons, blah, blah. Where the fuck did it go? Military train containing the apocalyptic nukes was seen making its way towards the front lines of Ukraine. Here's the article. I'll follow that link. I'll get this together.
So there was
Bill.
a convoy carrying
Yeah.
these things?
There was a convoy carrying a giant submarine that has the capabilities of carrying nuclear
Ah,
drones.
Okay.
That's where they're getting it. It says a military train that belongs to the forces responsible for Russia's nuclear arsenal has been spotted moving towards the front lines in Ukraine. What the hell? Get out of my way. What the fuck? Gonna make me watch a video? It says, while Moscow was said to have deployed the world's biggest submarine capable of carrying apocalypse drones. It doesn't say anything in here
Yeah.
about Apocalypse drones. It says this
Right.
is the world's biggest submarine, and it definitely has the capacity to
Yeah.
carry these Apocalypse drones. But there's nothing, no evidence, no proof, no nothing
That
that
would be
says
like
they're there.
seeing, like, every time a stealth bomber takes off from Whiteman Air Force Base and be like, they are deploying a plane capable of carrying a nuclear
nuke.
bomb.
Yes, that's exactly what this is.
Yes.
It's like U.S. Nuclear planes were spotted off the coast
Yeah.
on Friday. It's just like, yeah, they're flying a fucking plane
Yeah.
that is big enough to carry nuclear bombs.
Right.
Yes, you are correct. But
Yeah.
no, you're wrong in saying that
Yeah.
apocalyptic nukes were seen making their way towards the front line. That
Right.
seems,
Yeah.
that seems like you're like stretching what's actually
Little
happening.
bit.
Maybe
Yes.
they did have them, but nothing here,
Possible.
no evidence here says
Yeah.
suggests that there was freaking nukes.
Yeah.
Nuclear
And it's not like
apocalypse
they
drones.
walked up and like, excuse me, a soldier, you guys got nukes on that sub? Nah, we do.
Says Putin has threatened to discharge nuclear warfare over the last several months as his efforts to overpower Ukraine fail. Last month, Putin said the Kremlin would certainly use all means at our disposal to protect the country, or the county, it sames. Man,
The
Man.
county?
yeah, just the county. I didn't,
Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
apparently,
effective.
man, how many times did you get docked for spelling in college? And
Yes.
you got people that
Yeah.
are making money
You're
off this, and they
professional journalists.
they-
You
they
don't
can't
spell check?
proofread their own shit. So, I mean, this doesn't dig very deep, but if you are going off the fact that Putin has ramped up his threats of using nuclear weapons, maybe come up with something more than he's going to certainly use all the means at our disposal to protect the county.
Do you feel like at any point during this special
Olympics?
military, yeah, right, special military action that Putin has not been in control of things?
I mean, there's probably a time where things aren't going as planned, but I don't think it's ever gotten to the point where it's like, oh, Putin's backed into a corner.
Right.
He's going to push the button because he feels like an animal in the corner.
Yeah.
I don't feel like he's been, we've never seen him on TV
Yeah.
being like erratic,
No.
like screaming or anything, like saying insanity. I mean, I've seen Donald Trump do worse
Yeah.
than I've seen Putin, and I've never suspected that Donald Trump had his finger on the nuclear button. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, people do suspect
true.
it, but maybe.
I mean, to me, it just seems like Putin has just been, he's been playing basically with one arm tied behind his back this whole
Yes.
time.
Or
and
he's
people
like-
are like making fun of him.
He's
for
an
it.
Inigo Montoya on
Right,
Princess
yes.
Bride. He's like, I know something you don't know. I'm not left-handed. It's like, oh shit.
That's exactly it.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
like, what-
He's going to make the reveal here shortly.
Exactly. He's gonna be like, I'm not left-handed. It's like everybody's like, ah, fuck. we thought we had him cornered, but
Yeah.
he's just been toying with us like a cat this whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, he's probably been dealt losses that
Yeah.
setbacks and stuff.
Right.
But I don't think it's got to the point where he's just like, oh shit, this is not working
Right.
out.
Yeah. I mean, they've annexed what, like 6 different Ukrainian
But
territories.
was that militarily, or did he just come out and say that's ours? They said yes, we said
Yeah,
yes, that's
I
ours.
don't know, to be honest.
I don't know either.
So-
And, people are speculating. Well, since he annexed that, if there's fighting in that region, when he's saying we're going to use all defense means necessary at our disposal, maybe he's talking about those regions. Maybe that's why he annexed them, so he can be
Right.
like, well, now I need to defend these. Now I
Yeah.
can use nukes. I don't know what. I don't know. Do we wait and find out if he's going to?
I mean, I feel like you kind of got to.
I-
I mean, what else can you do preemptively?
Well, there's George Bush and the WMDs. I mean, that worked out well, didn't
Yes,
it?
yes.
Like Saddam Hussein's got his WMDs. We got to go in there and preemptively
Yeah.
take him out before he uses them to destroy
And-
this world as we know it.
And I'm sure we'll get there, but that's precisely why we shouldn't.
Exactly. But again, it's like when a guy, like, if you suspect a guy is pulling something out of his jacket, you wait and see if he's going to shoot you
No,
with it, or
no.
like it. I mean, it's quite the situation. Like, do you sit and wait for him to do it first?
Right.
But then, like, how long do you wait? Obviously,
Right.
you don't just go nuke him because he said, certainly use all the means at our disposal. Then it's just like, oh, we got to go nuke him, or we got to go take him
But
out.
to me, like, that doesn't necessarily say that nukes are on the table.
No, and we're gonna get into
And,
that.
and like you said, any prudent leader avoids that word at all costs. So when he says, "Well, I'm going to do whatever it takes," it doesn't mean I'm going to shoot you in the fucking head.
Right. There was something else at the bottom of this I wanted to read.
It's like, I'm going to get the best deal on this car,
The-
whatever it takes.
This was my favorite part. On Thursday, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky said Putin understands the world will never forgive a nuclear strike. Then he doesn't just leave it there.
Of course, he can't.
He can't leave it there. He says he understands that after the use of a nuclear weapon, he would be unable anymore to preserve, so to speak, his own life. And I'm confident of that. Sounds like he's like, I would kill the bastard.
Yeah, right.
If he dares to drop a nuke on us, I would go in there and single-handedly kill him. And I'm confident of that. It's just like rhetoric like this. Is this necessary?
Right.
To be like, well, he's out there. Putin's out there saying, we'll defend it even if it takes nukes. Even if he was like, nukes aren't off the table.
Yeah.
For Zelensky to come out and be like, don't you dare do it because you will fucking die. It's like, is that really is that de-escalating the situation here? I don't think so. Jack Skellington says, we'll do what it takes. Nord Stream.
Yeah. It's a good point.
I don't think that Putin's responsible for Nord Stream.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't at all. I feel like if anybody is, it's us.
Yeah.
Most likely. So anyways, where's all this coming from right now? Like, what was Putin's exact threat? Because they've been talking for like 2 or 3 weeks.
It's like,
he's been ramping up his nuclear rhetoric, his nuclear threat talk. And it's just like, what? Like, it sounds like he's just out there waving his fucking nukes around.
Right. Yeah.
Like, all willy-nilly, like, come at me, motherfucker. Yeah, exactly. That's what they make it sound like. But
yeah.
So I guess we got to take a look and see exactly what his statements were, so we can decide for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Is this as serious as it is?
Now, I feel like if he says, "I wish you good health," then you're fucked.
Yeah, that's more
Yes.
that's more of a serious threat to me than we are going to use every weapon at our disposal. So let's see if what Biden said. He's not joking, man. No, I'm serious. Because here's the original post. This was back on September 21st. So this is a couple weeks ago. It says Vladimir Putin issues a nuclear threat over Ukraine. And the only part they have in quotes on the headline is, this is not a bluff. They didn't quote the rest of it, but they did manage to quote that this is not a bluff part. It says Russian President Vladimir Putin appeared to threaten use of nuclear. And it's like, first of all, are we getting the proper translation from Russian? Like, how do we know that the person translating is not? Maybe he is pro-Ukraine, and he's sitting there like translating. He's like, I'm gonna fucking blow up the entire world, and Putin's just like sitting there, just like, this war thing's kind of getting drug out and stuff. And if people we could all just be friends around here. And he's just like, fuck the United States, fuck Zelensky, nuclear bombs. I mean, how do we know? How do we know that this is what he's saying?
That's a good point.
Jack Skellington says, I think it's a bait and switch. They're going to have everybody's panties twisted about nukes and then just hit us with an EMP. That is we've talked about that just long before our podcast days. We're just like, when are they going to put an EMP? If they did drop an EMP on us, they could easily tell everybody, we got nuked by Russia or something. We're not going to know because we can't even watch the media anymore.
Right.
Because we got an EMP took out all our freaking communication. So we just got to buy whatever they tell us. So that's a high probability. I didn't even get to the conspiracy theory shit yet, Jack Skellington. I didn't even think about that. That wasn't even on my radar, but yes, that is probably the case. So this goes on to say, in the pre-recorded address. So how do we know this pre-recorded address isn't from like 6 years ago? Too?
Right. Yeah.
It's like, there's so many what ifs.
Or after he's had some shots with buddies and he's like, and then I'll blow him because I'm not bluffing.
And I'm not a bitch.
Yeah.
It says Putin said he was willing to respond to what he described as the West's nuclear blackmail using his country's own weapons, strongly implying the use of nuclear strikes. Again, no mention of
No,
nuclear.
right. Implying.
Based on our translator, I guess. It says he said that the high-ranking representative of NATO countries has raised the possibility of using weapons of mass destruction, nuclear weapons against Russia. Okay, so I'm not pro Russia. I'm not pro Putin. I don't like any of these fuckers. But in his defense, at least from what he's saying, is NATO countries are out here saying, "Hey, we're going to use nukes if it comes down to it on Russia." And so his response is, "Let them do it, bitch. I got bigger bombs.
Right.
I'm not afraid to unleash everything I have in my arsenal."
Yeah.
But that was in response to
NATO.
using them. It wasn't like, I'm going to blow you all up. It was, if they use nukes on us, we're not going to stop from using nukes on them.
Absolutely.
Says Putin said he had lots of weapons to reply to perceived threats from Western nations, which have imposed crippling sanctions since the Russian invasion of Ukraine began on February 24th. He said that some of them were more modern than those of NATO countries. If Russia feels its territorial integrity is threatened, we will use all defense methods at our disposal, and this is not a bluff. That's the line there.
Okay.
Does it sound like he's like out there like pointing his nuclear bombs at people and saying,
"No,
come at me, bitch"? I mean,
yeah, and I mean it's almost like you said, NATO's or the one that's like, hey, we have nuclear weapons, and all he's saying is like, hey, if you use them, so do I.
Yeah.
So pull the trigger. But then they're like, oh, did you hear what he said?
Yeah.
Holy shit, he said he was going to use nukes.
It sounds more like a big show me yours and I'll show you mine.
And that's exactly what it is.
Like who's got the bigger swing?
Unfortunately, though, that's the same game Hussein was playing down in Iraq.
Yeah. Well, supposedly that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But does this sound like the threat of aggressor though, or
No,
does it sound
no.
like I said, you show me your nukes, I'll show you my nukes. Do it, bitch. Basically,
right.
I got some too, and I mean basically the exact same thing Biden said in the speech where he's like, all this nuclear talk. Well, we will retaliate. Basically,
yeah.
I mean they've been. He didn't specify how they retaliate, and I'll get into that too. But for years, I mean, that's been the whole back and forth with Russia, Soviet Union since nuclear bombs were invented. It's just like, you use bombs on me, I'll use bombs on you. And then the other side's like, well, you use bombs on me, I'll use bombs on you. Yeah. It's nothing new since 1962.
Right.
That rhymed. That was but since the Cuban since the Cuban Missile Crisis, that's been the rhetoric between the two sides. It's like, that's how supposedly we keep
each other in check.
Nuclear Armageddon from happening is we both point nuclear bombs at each other and say, don't do it because I have some too. But for some reason, this time it's a nuclear threat.
Yeah.
More so than it has been the last 60 years. So what do you think so far? What are we on higher alert of nuclear Armageddon based on these statements?
I don't think so.
Based on these statements of, as well as the combination of him supposedly having his back against the wall, do you feel like maybe there's some high risk here?
No,
still don't feel that. No. It's just like
I feel like I almost said bingo. I feel like Biden.
Who's bingo? Jack Skellington said bingo.
That Biden slipped his handlers when he made that little profession.
But the thing is this. Normally when he slips his handlers and gets off script, they backpedal on what he says. This time the White House didn't backpedal on what he was saying.
Well, they couldn't, because Trump and Pompeo both went back and been like, well, that's reckless. Why did he say that? So they can't back Trump and Pompeo. They got to be like, sure.
And is this a situation you want to really backpedal on to the whole world? It's like, there's nuclear threats, and we're going to respond with nuclear threats. And then the White House come out and be like, we're not really going to do that.
Don't listen to him. He's crazy.
Yeah, I could see Putin up there with his shit eating grin that gets.
Yeah,
I wish I had Putin's. I need to pull up Putin's grin so we can use it from time to time. Just sitting back there chuckling like, this guy's a dumbass.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder. I feel like, again, not pro Putin, but I feel like Putin is far smarter of an individual
yeah.
than
Well, definitely more self-controlled.
yeah.
Whereas, and what's his face? Biden, I mean, he's already come under heat from, I believe, France and Germany, both saying, look, that's kind of reckless talk.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say later. It's just like, are you doing the right thing when like France is kind of pussies though.
Yeah,
So
France won't do anything anyway.
Germany, they kind of rely on Russia, so it's not like we can really give them much credit either. But still, it's just like, are you doing things right or not? When Macron is out there telling you that, hey, this is a bit reckless, guys.
Yeah.
Maybe we should worry about de-escalating this instead of making all this Armageddon talk. This is the picture. I feel like every time Joe Biden stands up and threatens Putin and says that Jack isn't going to know I hit him. He's not going to know from a pound of bricks through my mom's coffin. And it's just like, the fuck did you say, Joe? And then you got Putin up here with this grin right here. Yep. It's like I wish I had like a soundbite of Putin laughing. I need to step up my game apparently. Anyway,
this is forcing us to kind of go to a different level.
Yes, it is. And it's funny. It's like the 2 episodes that we've gotten like talked the most shit and joked the most about have both been the nuclear threat.
But I almost feel like you have to.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else we can fucking do.
No,
what are we gonna do? Hide under our desk like they told us in
Duck
the 60s?
and cover?
Yeah. It's like even if it was as serious as they say it is, what can you do besides joke about it for real? Because I mean, we're all fucked if it happens. But again, is it responsible as a president to get up and basically declare a nuclear Armageddon threat in any situation, but specifically this time, like right now? Is it responsible for Biden to get up and be like, this I'm not kidding, Jack, but this is nuclear Armageddon all over again since 1962.
It's nothing new.
Yes. It's not responsible.
No, you should be like, well, I feel like we need to get a little bit more clarification from Putin before we decide to escalate. And if he's going that way, then we need to figure out why his mommy doesn't love him.
Yes, exactly. Now, speaking of clarification, I do have some clarification from an ex-Putin advisor. Now, the fact that he's an ex-Putin advisor
tells you
he might not have a lot of credibility, but still, this might be a little clarification, because some of the stuff I didn't get into in those other articles is they're talking about how Putin's not necessarily going to shoot ICBMs at the United States. He's not going to shoot ICBMs at Britain. What he's specifically threatening is like the tactical weapons on Ukraine, like shooting like small weapons, like directed small nuclear weapons at Ukraine at specific military sites or on like Kiev or something like that. They're like, no, we're not specifically referring to like big giant nuclear intercontinental ballistic missiles, but we are talking he could potentially use these tactical things. And even like, how easy would it be for the United States to tell us all that Putin did that?
Right.
Like, it's going to be harder unless you use an EMP on the United States. It's going to be harder to pretend that Putin shot ICBMs at the United States and have that kind of false flag. But it'd be really easy to come on and be like, oh, he did it. He dropped a couple of tactical nukes on Ukraine. This is it, guys.
Yeah, Kiev no longer exists.
Yeah, we don't know. I haven't been to Kiev recently, so I have been to Ukraine. I remember you saying that. I have, but I don't think I went to Kiev. I don't know where I went. I went to some place in Ukraine. It was before 2014 though, so it was shitty then though too.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get back to, because like I said, they were saying that like he's going to use these tactical things on Ukraine.
But is that tactical? I mean, with everything in their arsenal, would a tactical nuke really be tactical?
Would nuking your own neighbor be tactical? That's the real question.
Yes.
What benefit do you get from nuking your neighbor?
They don't need to do that.
No, and then not to mention all the other shit that you're going to get yourself into.
Right.
The problems you're going to cause yourself.
Just using like a nuke, like, oh, well, we had to get rid of that door. It wouldn't open, so we nuked the door, but it was tactical. I mean, just using a nuke is going to put you on a whole different level.
Yes, not. Yeah, we'll get into that, but let's get back to this ex-Putin advisor for some clarification on what Putin actually meant, because he seems to have more clarification than what the U.S. is telling us. He apparently went on an interview with, who was he interviewed by? BBC. He went on, did an interview with the BBC, and in the first 20 seconds, he threatened nuclear weapons. In the first 20 seconds of the interview with the BBC. So this says, former advisor to Russian President Vladimir Putin threatened nuclear war at the very beginning of a radio interview on Wednesday. Sergio Markov appeared on the BBC Today program after Putin ordered a partial mobilization of his military, which would call up an estimated 300,000 reservists to fight in Ukraine. Putin, in a televised address that aired on Wednesday, also accused the West of engaging in nuclear blackmail. This is what we already talked about, this stuff. And he talked about he's not bluffing, that he'll use everything in his arsenal. So in reference to that, Markov was, the ex-Putin advisor was referencing that when he said, without even being asked a single question, he remarked that Putin's speech was saying he will be ready to use nuclear weapons against some countries, including against Great Britain. He's on the BBC saying this shit. They invite him on. They hadn't even got to the any question. They haven't. It's not like it was like, okay, Mr. Markov, what do you think Mr. Vladimir Putin was saying when? No, they didn't even got that far. They're like, hello, Mr. Markov. It's nice to meet you. And he's like, yeah, Putin was saying he's gonna fucking nuke you all. And they're just like,
including you right here.
Yeah. And they're I can just imagine their jaws just went through the floor. It's like, what? Excuse me? Did you really just say that? Says show host Justin Webb interjected to ask Markov if he believed Putin's speech included a clear threat to start a general nuclear war that would kill everyone. So that was his response. This interview just went bizarre immediately. He comes on, he says, let me introduce you, Mr. Markov. Mr. Markov's like, yeah, Putin did say we're going to blow you the fuck up. And then his response is, the show host response, Justin Webb says, do you think this was a clear threat to start a general nuclear war that would kill everyone? First two sentences of this freaking interview.
Brilliant.
Yes, this is going smashingly. You want to know what his response was to, would Putin start a general nuclear war that would kill everyone? Mr. Markov replies, not everyone, but it would kill a lot of people in the Western countries. You immediately regret asking this guy to come on your show.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe, again, he's an ex-Putin guy. Yeah. Maybe he's just coming on. Maybe the BBC's like, this would be great. Right. Can you just come on and say that Putin's going to blow us all the fuck up?
Yeah. He's like, you don't like Putin, right? Like, no, man, I hope they assassinate his ass.
Yes.
All right, well, just say he wants to use nukes. No problem.
All right, I got you. So he goes on to say, Russia has no reason to use technical nuclear weapons against Ukrainians. Ukrainians are our brothers, he said. So there goes their whole theory that
genocide.
Well, that Putin's going to use these tactical nukes in Ukraine on designated military stations, designated cities. He's like, why the fuck would we blow up our own people?
Right.
Our whole point is those are our people and we want them back.
Yeah.
Why would we blow them up? He continues, because of course he's not done there.
Right.
He says, Ukraine is occupied by Western countries. Markov added, saying that those countries have created proxy armies and are using Ukrainian soldiers as their slaves. This nuclear war could be the result of crazy behavior of the President of the United States, Joe Biden, and Prime Ministers of Great Britain, Boris Johnson and Liz Truss. Of course, Russians don't want everybody in the world to die. What Russians want is to stop this war which Western countries conducted against Russia on the Ukrainian territory.
So it sounds like Putin's talking points.
Well, yeah, but he's taking it one step further.
Right,
Putin is very tactical in the way he talks.
Yeah,
he hints around that we're going to blow you up if you do it, but he's not saying those things.
Right. Yeah.
His ex-advisor comes out and he's like, what he really meant is he really wants to blow you up.
Well, that's probably why he's the ex-advisor.
Yes. It's like, God, it's like
dude,
damn it, you cannot say that. You think Putin's sitting back there like, fuck. I shouldn't have fired him. I should have
put
killed him.
2 in his head.
I should have wished him good health. I don't know what I was thinking. I got a little too close, a little too connected with this
Yeah, he's
guy.
my fucking sister's kid. I couldn't just.
Says Markov then said it was possible to talk about peace and Russian demands for peace, prompting Webb to comment. You haven't been talking much about peace, Mr. Markov. You've just threatened us all with complete destruction. It's fucking great. Horrifying,
yes,
but great.
Yes.
I don't know. Like, how do you think, like, do you think this Justin Webb has ever had an interview like this before in his life?
Right.
It's like, so, Mr. Markov, how are you? Y'all are fucked.
Yeah.
Especially here in London.
Yes.
Y'all, don't even get me started on the United States.
Putin is now the Oprah of nukes. You get a nuke. You get a nuke.
Yes.
Everybody gets nukes.
Yes. Yes, that's absolutely it. So, do you think he overstepped his
A little bit.
power
Yes.
here?
Yeah, a little bit.
Do you think this was sanctioned by Putin? This interview here?
No.
I don't know. He just
like you said,
just won't kill everybody. At least there's a positive. There's an upside on this.
Yeah, but most people in the West will probably die.
Yeah, a bunch of you people.
Yeah.
A bunch of the people across the pond
Yeah.
there. But us over here.
I love
not
how
so
he
much.
mentions Truss, the new prime minister of Britain.
Yeah, we
because
got
she's probably like, I wasn't even there.
It's like, I just got here.
Yeah.
It's like I had nothing to do with this. But and just throw you in the mix. You're guilty by association too. It's not like she came out and was like, guys, we got to tone down this rhetoric here. She probably came out and just like, more weapons to Ukraine.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nukes? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we got nukes. You got nukes. We all got nukes. Great.
It's
great.
Party.
So kind of aligned with Markov here, the ex-Putin advisor, you have to ask yourself, why the fuck would he use nukes on his neighbors? I mean, this guy seems to understand
that's
that
the one
concept.
valid thing that he says.
Yeah, he seems to understand the concept. Like, why would we nuke our especially this territory that we already claimed as ours, and we put forth this much effort to take it back. Why would we blow that up?
There are brothers, right? The United States is the one that turned them against us.
Well, it's just like the question of like, why would Russia blow up their own bridge to Crimea that they declared as their own? Why would Russia blow up their own gas pipeline when they could just shut it off?
Yeah.
Why would Russia blow up their own neighbors with a nuclear weapon?
Yeah.
Like it would be suicidal.
Yeah. Matter of fact, one of the first things that they did was Russia go in and didn't they secure all the nuclear power plants?
Well,
to make sure.
Well, they kind of shot at a bunch of them first. They say they shot at like Chernobyl and the other ones. And remember, there was all that fear that they're gonna bomb the nuclear plants and blah blah blah.
Cause fallout all over the place and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like he may be like pig-headed, he may be hot-headed, but is he suicidal?
No.
Is he that kind of a? Is he? I mean, they compare him to Hitler, but is he that maniacal?
No.
He seems too calculated to be that maniacal.
Yeah. Yes. Anybody who rides bears without a shirt on is somebody that you have to take
teaches
serious.
Geese how to fly.
Yes. He flies them south.
Yes.
Yes. He's ex-KGB. So he's a calculating individual. Okay.
Yes.
He's not somebody who's just going to go off the rails and start blowing shit up. Unless
maybe he does have like some brain rot or something, and he's getting worse. I mean, they've said this about him. He's like, the guy's brain is getting worse and worse, and he's just going off the rails further and deeper. And it's just like, from what I've seen, that's not what I'm seeing. That's like his speeches. He's not raving. Yeah. Like even the speeches where we're not sure if the translator is telling us the right. He's not raving.
Yeah.
He's just talking. He might be talking in a serious tone, but a maniacal dictator. I think it's safer to watch that ridiculous video of the Italian chick last week that we watched where they're like, we don't even have to translate this to know that she's a dictator.
Yeah.
I think it's easier to look at that and be like, yeah, she's a little hot-headed there. But then to watch the videos of Putin, he's just like, if they dare to use nukes, we got our own nukes. And it's just like, doesn't seem maniacal to me.
Yeah. But and also you got to look at the elephant in the room. Okay,
which one? There's a lot of them.
All right. The 2 billion people one. Okay.
Yes.
China is on the precipice of like ruling the world. Do you think they're really going to let Putin start nuking people? Right when they're
It's like,
they're
come
there?
on, we just got to the top.
Exactly. We're number one, and now you're going to start nuking shit?
It's like
No, I
they
think
finally they finally get to the point. Like the day their economy is number one, they're like, guys, we did it. Then
yeah,
the world just implodes.
we want to welcome our new superpower.
It's like, God damn it.
Yeah. No, I think they'd take Putin out first.
Yeah,
before
exactly.
they let it get to that point.
So think about though the impact on Russia, not on Ukraine, not the rest of the world, just on Russia. If Russia was to use tactical weapons, nuclear weapons on its next door neighbor.
Yeah.
That's like me saying I don't like my neighbor that's like 10 feet from my house. I'm going to use a bazooka and blow up his house. It's like there's probably going to hurt me
little
too.
blowback there.
Yeah, a little bit.
That, and you are going to probably become enemy number one with all your other neighbors because they don't know when
too.
you're going to get pissed and blow up their house.
Or your own people.
Right?
I mean, Moscow is less than 500 miles from Kiev.
Yeah, that's stupid.
500 miles.
Yeah.
The fallout from Chernobyl within 48 hours reached Sweden, which was 700 miles from Chernobyl.
Wow.
In 48 hours, they had fallout. They had reports of higher radiation levels and shit. An explosion, a nuclear explosion, is going to have much more thrown into the air than a meltdown reactor. I mean, there was like some like small explosions in the reactor itself, but it wasn't like a bomb going off and shooting it all into the air. It just like blew into the air mostly.
Yeah.
And so an explosion would put that much more fallout. If the wind was just right, Moscow,
I was just gonna say
Moscow might get affected quite a bit.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the territories, all the people between Moscow and Ukraine. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people on the border.
Yeah.
And I guess have you heard of Russians evacuating the border towns there?
No.
Is he that maniacal that he would just like not tell his people? He's like, oh, by the way, I'm about to shoot a fucking nuke over there. It sucks to be you.
Right. Yeah.
No, he'd probably get him the fuck out of the way, I would think.
I would think so. Or at least, you would think his generals would know enough to get the hell out of the way.
Exactly. So approximately, according to reports, approximately 1 million Russians would die if Russia would use a nuclear weapon on Ukraine.
That makes sense.
1 million people.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking how many? I mean, he's got his back against the wall because he's lost anywhere from 1,500 to 15,000, depending on who they're saying, troops in this war in Ukraine. His back's against the wall. So he's like, you know what? In response to losing 15,000 troops, I'm going to kill 1 million of my own people just to send a message to the West.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well,
none of it makes sense.
Yeah. Like you said, he wouldn't blow up his own bridge. He wouldn't blow up his own pipeline. He's not going to blow up his own neighbor and kill 1 million of his own people. No.
What happens if his navigation system on his missile goes awry and it just like lands inside Russian territory too? It's like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
It's like how many Russians would be kind of pissed off if that were to happen?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they would go take him out.
I would say probably all of them.
I don't think we have to worry about Zelensky going and offing Putin because I think his own people would be like, that was really messed up, dude.
Yeah.
You got to pay now.
Do you think Zelensky sits there and watches John Wick and he's like, I am Baba Yaga?
He's an actor, so
I know he is.
You know he like acts in the mirror.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like he acts out his speeches in the mirror.
Oh, yeah.
And he does like the Ron Burgundy like warm up thing.
Unique New York.
New York.
Or the De Niro. You talking to me?
Yeah.
Are you talking
You know
to me?
he does
Oh, yeah.
De Niro
Oh, yeah.
impersonation in the mirror in whatever Ukrainian accent. So I don't know. Nothing makes sense. It's like
no.
Number one, you're gonna blow up your own people. Number two, the people that specifically would die are the people in the annexed areas that you put all this effort into securing to begin with.
Right.
Like the areas on the border are the annexed areas that you're like, that's mine now. So maybe he did it just to nuke it, just to be like, he's that asshole that's like, this is mine. Blow it the fuck up. I do what I want. It was mine.
Exactly. What are you gonna do about it now? Yeah.
Never was yours to begin with. You can't tell me not to blow up my own land. No, it's just none of it makes sense to me. Nothing.
It doesn't, which
Makes
is
sense.
what is very disturbing.
Yes. So a little more. How much time we got till break? How much time we got? We got a
10 minutes.
yeah. Let's keep going a little bit. A little more fear porn in the news when it comes to this shit. Apparently the US government has gone out and bought up a bunch of anti-radiation drugs.
Of course.
Yeah. At the same time, they're like,
Sure.
let's go out and spend like $250 million on anti-radiation drugs. Now get this. Homeland Security says it has nothing to do with the situation in Ukraine. What does it have to do with then?
Yeah, right.
They're just like, on a whim, why don't we just ramp up our anti-radiation? But it has nothing to do with that. So let's take a look at this one because this one's stupid. They're all stupid, but this says the nuclear rhetoric is getting louder as Ukraine continues to make serious battlefield advances. Blah, blah, blah. We get it. They're saying all the things that we've already talked about. Goes on to say nuke risk. As the threats and warnings increase, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Service shelled out $290 million on Amgen's drug called Nplate, which is used to treat acute radiation sickness in the event of a nuclear emergency. Now, don't worry. The HHS says it's not in response to the situation in Ukraine. Rather, it's part of ongoing work for radiological security.
Huh.
What the fuck is radiological security?
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's probably in the event of a nuclear blast, a nuclear meltdown, nuclear war.
Something nuclear.
Yeah, it has nothing. Or maybe it's just an event that an X-ray machine malfunctions and fries all our testicles.
Kind of blows up.
Yeah, I mean that's the most logical thing. It's like, who are you kidding here?
No shit. That's scarier than them thinking about blowing up Ukraine.
Right. It's like somebody's planning something here.
Yeah, right.
It might not be Russia, but somebody's planning on some kind of event here.
Somebody knows something.
Somebody knows something that we don't know. Goes on to say, though, after it says, it's just for the ongoing work for radiological security. It also says that closer to the front, Ukraine's capital of Kiev is also stocking up on potassium iodine pills, which prevent radiation absorption in your thyroid, is what that does. It blocks radiation from absorbing into your thyroid and giving you thyroid cancer. So, but I'm guessing that has nothing to do with it either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think Kiev would get that far if that was Putin's plan.
Yeah, I don't think that they would have to worry about the cancer aspect of it. I'm pretty sure Kiev would be the first to fall if there was a tactical nuclear weapon dropped. But don't worry, they're stocking up on potassium iodine pills. You all should be fine. And the United States is stocking up on Amgen's Nplate. So, but nothing to worry about here. The other part of me says, who's buying stock in Amgen?
Yes.
That's my question. My first question is like, who's planning what? And then my second thought was, somebody probably that's up on the hill probably bought a lot of stock in Amgen, and they're like, what we should do is there's all this nuclear stuff. We should just buy a bunch of stock in Amgen, or not a bunch of stock, but buy up a bunch of this Amgen drug.
Yeah.
And I mean, not related. I might get rich off it because I own stock in it, but yeah, it's the Nancy Pelosi method.
Right.
Like Nancy Pelosi is known for insider trading. So what are the odds? Possibly Nancy Pelosi having bought like last month a bunch of stock.
100%.
Wait, there's a connection. Nancy Pelosi has an Amgen connection. Back in 2008, apparently Nancy Pelosi was accused of receiving $30,000 from Amgen in her campaign just before some bill that really helped Amgen out. She received like a massive $27,000 or $30,000 donation from Amgen. So she's already been accused of playing sides with this same company that all of a sudden we're buying a bunch of stuff or buying a bunch of supplies in. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if
No.
Nancy Pelosi has massive amounts of stock in this company. So I just found it hilarious that there's like 15-year-old connection between
Yeah,
Pelosi
that
and the
is
same
funny.
company that I wondered,
Yeah.
did Nancy Pelosi buy stock in this? And this popped up. So there's a connection.
That's
You're
awesome.
welcome. So are you scared when they buy up all this radiation treatment pills?
It is a little scary. Yeah. I mean, because like you said, what do they know?
Or do you think maybe they did that? Maybe they're like, we got to get all our ducks in a row here. If they hear us talking about nuclear Armageddon and they're going to find out that we bought a bunch of
Right.
radiation
Yeah.
pills, they're going to put 2 and 2 together and do the work for us
Right.
and get scared shitless.
Right.
I mean, I could see that before I could see
Yeah.
an actual nuclear Armageddon happening. It's like they're trying to play us. They know we go and find the loose ends, so they're trying to tie up loose ends. It's like did you ever watch Big Bang Theory where he's trying to like Sheldon, like they tell a lie to Penny and Sheldon's like, that lie's not going to work because there's all these loose ends. So he makes up this elaborate lie to make sure and he like, I don't know. He just ties up all the, it's like that. It's like, well, what if they wonder, if nuclear Armageddon is this big a deal, shouldn't we buy up stock? So maybe we should buy up stock in these pills here. And maybe it's just like, we gotta connect all our dots here because, these internet capers, these internet Sherlock Holmes out there, they're going to look and they're going to find it. So can you imagine how freaked out they're going to be when they find out we just bought up $290 million worth of radiation pills? Oh, they're going to shit themselves. So I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
Before we get into break, what's your thoughts on everything? So far?
I think that's all very, very possible. And like I had mentioned to you in messaging before, it could also be that Biden's trying to set himself up, or his benefactor is trying to set him up to be the next Kennedy and talk Putin down.
Biden, the savior of the world, that just does not have a
no.
ring to
I
it.
agree, but
just no ring to that whatsoever.
With media on his side and everything, be like, oh my gosh, only Biden can save us from this mess that Trump put us in.
It wouldn't be Biden.
No.
It'd be Dark Brandon.
Dark Brandon. It would have to be Dark
It would
Brandon.
have to be. He's going to have to
That's true,
tap
because-
into his alter ego of Dark Brandon to take on the nuclear
I'm
threat.
surprised that is not a comic book yet.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be a comic book. If not, it's going to be now.
Do you think they'll have like super well-developed Nancy Pelosi show up?
Naked in the shower again?
Yes.
God, why'd you have to remind me of that? On that note, it is time to go to break so I can go vomit somewhere. We're going to take a couple minutes, and when we come back, we're going to continue down this insanity of nuclear Armageddon. We're going to get back. We're going to get away from naked Nancy Pelosi and get back on track with nuclear Armageddon. So give us a couple minutes, and we'll be right back. Goodbye.
Have you ever thought that maybe voting, maybe all this politics constantly surrounding you is not the way to achieve freedom in your life? Hi, I'm Remso W. Martinez, and I ask myself the same question. That's why I'm on a journey to find true freedom in my lifetime. From learning about financial independence, to new ways to develop rugged individualism, to amazing guests living strange, crazy, amazing lifestyles that you've only thought might be real, but actually are. Go ahead and check out my new show, On the Run with Remso W. Martinez at the We Are Libertarians Network. You can find On the Run with Remso W. Martinez on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play. You know how the internet works. Come on down and let's discover how to achieve real freedom in your life together.
Hey everybody, I just want to take this time to give a big shout out to the very first sponsor of the Break the Bell podcast. That is Goulash Media. They can be found at goulashmedia.net. Goulash Media specializes in graphic design, web design, audio recordings, video work, wedding videos, music videos, even political campaign videos. Goulash Media caters to the little guy with the big vision. You can check them out at goulashmedia.net. That's GOULASH media.net.
much on your mind to be so conscious and not just believing every sorry thrown away. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold the candle like vigil for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. I know you can handle it. To face the truth of the matter, it's still so much better to leave the light than drag it to your grave. Because you see what to make of this. How you can turn your own tables and work this. And take advantage of your failure like you planned to anyway. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold the candle like vigil for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. You're still alive, but you've been dead inside for a long time. And I understand why, but you did this to yourself. You did this to me. You don't even remember the name. Why should anybody remember you? Why should anyone give you another shot? You know you're wrong. You know you deserve to be forgotten. Now you're everything you always despise. You always reveal to all the years of lies. You always never to cover up what you've done. We already know. We already take. Wake up and be better before you. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold the candle like vigil for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. I know it's not a good time for you. You've got too much on your mind to be so conscious and not just believing every sorry thrown away. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold the candle like vigil for your self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. I know you can handle it. To face the truth of the matter, it's still so much better to leave the light than drag it to your grave. Because you see what to make of this. How you can turn your own tables and work this. And take advantage of your failure like you planned to anyway. And it's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold the candle like
And we're back. Talking about, yeah, we haven't been blown up yet.
No, yet.
Or maybe we have.
That's true.
Wouldn't that be some shit?
That would be some shit.
If we had and we just don't realize it. And
I heard that happens. It takes a couple minutes for it to like affect.
Oh.
Like you know it. So
Yeah, so maybe we're dead right now, and
Yeah.
we just think we're still podcast. It's like, of all the things I'd be doing right now, I'd probably be podcasting. I'd go out like this. It's
Yeah,
like,
right.
have you looked out the window? Like everything's on fire, and we're here wasting our time talking to probably nobody. Nobody's going to hear this because you're all fucking dead, but we're gonna keep doing it.
Yes.
This is gonna be a great show. This is gonna get so many
Best
hits.
show yet.
So many hits. Some serious content right now. You know, there'd be the guys that are out like the people in the hurricane for the news
Yeah,
that are
right.
like standing there like trying not to blow away. It's like,
Yeah.
why the fuck are you doing this inside?
Yeah, right.
Like, why does the news always have to have the guy that's standing
Yeah.
out in the like? Who gets that short end of the
Yeah.
stick where they're like, nope, you're the guy that gets to go stand out
Yeah.
in the fucking hurricane.
That was Don Lemon.
Yes, we talked about that. It's like, what
Yes.
did he do to have to go stand?
Yes.
It's like, some sad sap's going to be standing out in the middle of a nuclear blast.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's
Yeah.
getting really warm out there. The sky's really bright. Flakes are starting to fall around me, and my skin's starting to burn. But you heard it first
Yeah.
from
We're
me.
still here. We're gonna report as long as we're up there.
It's like, well, we seem to be having technical difficulties. Don Lemon is no longer responsive right now.
He's ashed.
Yeah, all you see is just like the camera laying
Yeah.
next to his face, and it's just melting off. Well, that's how we deal with.
It is.
That's how we deal with nuclear Armageddon. Because,
Yes.
like we said in the first half, it's like, even if it's like 100% true, what can you do besides joke about
Exactly.
it? It's like, we can't get up in arms over
Right.
nuclear holocaust because it's not going to make a difference.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you think politicians all over the world, when somebody says like nuclear deterrent, nuclear whatever, they're like,
it's like, do we really got to talk about this?
right?
It's like, what would you do in the event of an? I don't fucking know.
Grill.
Yeah, it's like my political knowledge tells me nothing.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know what I would do because it's never happened, and if it does happen, there's probably not a whole lot of chance we're gonna come out.
Anybody
on top.
who's gone through it isn't here to really tell us what they did.
Yes. So we have no standard to go off of here. So I mean that gets us into the second half because I want to talk about. So what if Putin does?
Yeah.
What if Putin does launch a preemptive strike on Ukraine, on Great Britain, on the United States? Like, then what? Right. Does it lead to Armageddon? Do you think?
I think so.
Do you think we'd be the ones to like? Say he dropped
For us, it would be.
If he dropped a tactical nuke on Ukraine, do you think we'd nuke him back? No, you don't think so?
No.
You think that?
No. If he did a tactical, I think it would mobilize people. I think to be honest, if Putin decides he's going to tactically nuke Ukraine, he's going to have to fire nukes off to everybody.
Right.
I mean, because once you start down that path, you might as well go strong, because they're all coming for you at that point.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this in our last nuclear episode.
Yeah.
It's like, if you launch one, you're going to have to launch all of them because you got to make sure the other side is completely taken out, because if they're not, they're going to retaliate, and there's a good chance they're going to take you out. So if you're going to launch one of them, you're going to launch all of them at the same time. Right. So, I mean, we dug into that pretty deep in our last one. So go back to March.
I think the United States was the only country that was able to get away with it during World War II, because it was Japan.
And nobody else had them
the
at the time.
assholes. Yeah. No one else had them. They were kind of the assholes of the world. And so people were like, yeah, they kind of deserved it.
I mean, the other country that was actually working on them had already been defeated at that point.
Right.
It's Germany. So I'm sure Russia's sitting there. It's like, man, I wish I had a fucking nuke right now, because I would nuke the shit out of them.
Yeah.
But they didn't. Fortunately for us, they didn't. And again, Japan's just it was Japan. They were using kamikaze pilots. They were crashing their own pilots into
and they
aircraft carriers.
And the emperor at the time, it decided, he's like, I'm not surrendering. I'm gonna burn it all down.
He's the maniacal guy that if he had nukes, he would have burnt down the world with him as he went.
Oh yeah, he would have.
But it's telling to know that they had an emperor at the time, not like a president, not a modern leader.
Yeah.
They were still had emperors at the time, and it's just like that kind of says a lot about probably their technology too. So that's partially why. I mean, I can't say they were behind.
Militarily,
but they were using kamikaze pilots.
They really souped up their navy during the Russian-Japanese war.
Yeah.
and and then we helped push them to the next level with that. But yeah,
Of course we did. Of
Right,
course
right.
we gave them a bunch of weapons to blow us up with. We're
Yeah.
probably giving them the planes that they crashed into
Right,
us
yeah,
with.
right.
So
but
that's what we do.
but that was the only way that we were going to get out of that war, unfortunately.
So according to the New York Times, if Putin was to go down this road, the New York Times says the West has been vague about how it would respond. Do you know why I think the West has been vague about how they would respond?
Well, because why would you want your plan out there?
Well, that and my theory is they don't fucking know how they would respond.
Right.
Because how do you know until
Yeah.
you're in that moment? How do you know? Because it's not just one person that's making that decision. You got
Yeah.
all the advisors, all your cabinet, all of Congress.
And to be honest, you and I are one of the millions of people in this country would be the last to know.
Oh, absolutely.
Biden would be in his bunker under a mountain in
Biden would
Colorado.
probably be the last to know, to be
Yeah,
honest.
that's true. They'd probably be like, "Fuck this."
Just hide him
Yeah.
away in
So
his
it'll be like,
basement.
"Where's Obama? We need to get Obama safe."
So let's get into what could potentially happen, like what our response would be. This article here is from theguardian.com. It says, are Putin's nuclear threats really likely to lead to Armageddon? I'd say probably not, but we'll see. It says the realities underlying the menacing vocabulary are a gray area. What's more menacing? Him saying, I got all these weapons too, or Biden saying, oh, this is like seriously the worst Armageddon since 62.
Yeah.
It's like, that's pretty menacing itself. It says it's far from certain that Putin would be prepared to use nuclear weapons. So first things first is they don't know that he's even in a position to use them.
Well, he probably is now.
Because it talks about all the things he said. Every fucking article has to start out talking about the things he said, the things Biden said, then get to the point of the article. So we're going to skip a bit here. It says, the realities underlying the menacing vocabulary are a far grayer area than the bluster suggests. It is far from certain that Putin would be prepared to be the first leader to use nuclear weapons in wartime since 1945 over his territorial ambition in Ukraine. Again, that right there says a lot.
Yeah.
It's a border dispute, basically.
Right.
Territorial dispute. It's like, are you really willing to use nukes over a border dispute? It's like, this is my property line here. No, I mow that side of the line. That's actually mine. Well, I'm gonna blow up your fucking house.
What are you gonna mow now, bitch?
It's just like, that doesn't seem reasonable for a border dispute.
No.
Says, if his primary goal is to stay in power, that could be exactly the wrong way of going about it. Even if he did issue the launch order, he has no guarantee it would be carried out. Nor can he be absolutely sure the weapons and their delivery systems would work. Now, do we want to take that chance that his delivery systems won't work? It's like, yeah, but what are the odds it's gonna actually go off? I mean, they're like Soviet era nukes. Do we really think it's gonna blow? It's like, I don't want to wait around and find out. Says on the U.S. side, despite the U.S. president's apocalyptic language at a private fundraiser Thursday, it is not at all inevitable that Washington would respond to Putin's nuclear use with nuclear retaliation. Past wargaming suggests that would be a vigorous debate within the administration, to say the least. So they've wargamed this, obviously. Under Obama was when they wargamed the possibility of a nuclear.
Really? It wasn't Trump. I could see Trump doing it like every week.
Yeah, probably. But no, it was under Obama. They fucking did this war game between of a nuclear launch or something like that. So I want to get into the details of that. But before I do, they talk about like the US and Putin both have their briefcase code, like with the codes in it. And it says, because, you know, our codes, it's not just the president, is it? Don't they have like several people that they all have to have?
Yeah.
It's like all the codes have to be used, or all the buttons have to be pushed at the same time. Like on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, push the button, something like that. Like just the president can't open his briefcase and hit his fucking button and shoot shit off. Apparently Russia has a similar briefcase, but, and it says his general staff each have their own chegettes, is what they call them, but it's believed that Putin can order a launch without them. It's like, then why do they have them?
Right. Yeah.
I feel like
Well,
they're making shit up.
There's a oh gosh, what movie was it? It was it Crimson Tide? Denzel Washington, Gene Hackman, and they hadn't gotten the clearance to not shoot it. So like Gene Hackman was gonna like he wanted to blow it up, but Denzel Washington also had the key, and they both sub commanders had to use their keys at the same time to shoot the
Like
rockets.
I said, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And one of them said no.
Yeah.
Well, apparently that's the same scenario in Russia, except Putin doesn't need there. It's like, why do they have redundant briefcases then?
Yeah, right.
I feel like they're making that up to scare us, to be like, well, Putin's a maniac.
Yeah.
And well, you get the people defending against it and be like, well, but are his advisors with the briefcases going to go in on this too? Well, what you don't understand is Putin's briefcase is the one briefcase to rule them all. And he doesn't need their briefcase. It's like, so why the hell do they have briefcases then?
Just to make them feel
like,
better.
doesn't even fucking make sense.
Yeah. And if the New York Times knows this, you would think they would know it.
However, it says, based on their narrative that he's only going to use tactical nukes, he's not going to shoot off ICBMs or anything like that. Apparently, his Chiget or his briefcase is only used for like the ICBMs or long-range bombers or land to sea type or sea to land type bombers. Doesn't have anything to do with the tactical, non-strategic is what. What? How do you call it tactical and non-strategic at the same time?
Yeah, that doesn't even make sense.
It says any nuclear use in Ukraine would likely involve non-strategic or tactical weapons. Isn't that like
that's an oxymoron?
Yes,
very
I feel like it'd be strategic tactical weapons, not non-strategic tactical weapons.
Yes, that doesn't make sense.
With shorter range delivery systems, which are usually, but not necessarily, less powerful than strategic arms. I like how they had to put that in there.
Yeah.
They're not as powerful as the ICBMs, which are what they're calling strategic arms, but they're many times more powerful than Hiroshima or Nagasaki bombs, is what they're saying. Based on what I don't know, but they're saying.
That doesn't seem very tactical.
Says the U.S. has only one kind of tactical weapon, the B-61 gravity bomb. That sounds badass.
Yeah, it does.
Of which there are about 100 in Europe and a similar number in the United States. So we only have like a couple hundred of these tactical because we rely heavily on our giant ones, not our tactical ones.
Right.
It says FAS, which is the Federation of American Scientists, which you know is legitimate, estimates Russia has 2,000 tactical weapons in very many shapes and sizes. That sounds very scientific for the Federation of American Scientists. Very many shapes and sizes for use on land, sea, and air. They have lots of them, lots of shapes, lots of sizes, many of
They've turned into a Dr. Seuss book.
Yes. The weapons are not deployed on missiles or aircraft, but kept in bunkers and storage sites dotted around Russia. There are 12 national storage sites known in Russian military parlance as Object S, one of which is Belgorod, right on the Ukrainian border. See, again, that makes no sense to put these right on the Ukrainian border, to shoot them right into Ukraine, right on the Ukrainian-Russian border, and risk blowing up millions of your own people. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Agreed.
Says, basically, no, because... So they store these in these sites, and then they have base level sites, which are closer to the delivery system, which they have to transport by train or by tank or something to the deploy sites.
Okay.
And they're saying up until now, nobody's transporting those except that nuclear submarine that potentially could possibly hold Armageddon drones is what they call them.
Yes.
Big scary name. But yeah, it's saying no such movement has been observed. So, again, he's not pulling back his own people, evacuating them out of the area. He's not moving the nuclear weapons close to the border. So what is Biden basing these statements off of besides Putin saying, we're not against using everything we need to get it done?
Exactly. The moment that Putin pulls everybody out,
that's when I would start to be worried.
Yeah, then I'd be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, when people start running the other way, then I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
There was one time, I might have told you this before, but there was one time I was getting ready to leave for work in the morning. It was in winter, so it was like, 7:30, 8 o'clock. It was still kind of like dusk out. It was a little bit dark out. I come out and I see this old couple walking down the street. And they're like power walking, getting exercise, but this is what I witnessed. I walk out my door. I look. I see old couple. They are both looking over their shoulder, power walking the opposite direction, looking back at something. And my first reaction is like, "Oh
shit,
fuck!
right.
What are they running from?"
Yeah, right.
And then I realized they just were glancing over the shoulder. But that's what I feel like
it
when
was
you
like-
see the Russians power walking away from the border. Then we're gonna worry.
Like that video I sent you where people were eating lunch and a jogging team like ran through the cafeterias where he gets up and
Everybody
starts
started running because they thought that it was like panic like that. Like my mind was like, oh shit, what are
Yeah.
we running from? And I almost took off power walking away with them. Like, I gotta get out of here.
Yes.
Anyway, how did we get off
I
track?
don't know.
Let's get to let's get to the war games. First of all, it says Pavel Bayev, a military researcher who worked for the Soviet Defense Ministry, said Putin cannot count on his weapons actually working. Again, because
don't get to that point.
Yeah, he's coming out and saying most of his warheads are very, very old, and without testing, it's hard to say how suitable. Apparently, they're expired. They're past their I didn't know nukes expired, but
Me neither.
do they have like a package date? Like
Yeah, right.
best if used before? I don't know. But again, do we want to?
Do we really want to shoot this one off? It expired
Yes.
like 20 years ago.
Right. It's like taking the drink of milk. It's like this is
Yeah.
close to its expiration date.
Yeah.
Do I really want to risk taking
Just
this?
smell
drink?
it. Smell it.
Anyways, it goes on to say it'd be more likely that his chain of command would break down and they would not have anything to do with it. So let's get into the war games because that's far more interesting.
But again, that's a bold statement to say.
Right.
Like, I mean, assuming that the United States chain of command would not break down and our nuclear weapons are good, but Russia's probably would.
What they're basing this on, well, his inner circle is starting to have doubts about his. So can you imagine if he ordered them? Like, it's one thing to order your people to go in and like attack a neighbor country, but it's a whole different ballgame to order your people to blow up a bunch of people.
But you're saying everybody really trusts Biden, right? I mean,
nobody trusts Biden. I don't
No.
even think Biden trusts Biden.
no, like you said, Biden doesn't even have the real suitcase.
Yes. He's got like a dummy, like
Yes.
it doesn't even open. It's just got latches.
It's got a red button that he
Yes.
can like, it makes farm sounds.
Yes, exactly. Yes. He's just like, I'm doing it, guys. And it's like, thank God we didn't give him the real thing. So in 2016, apparently the Obama administration carried out wargaming exercises to test its communication channels and decision-making process in the event of a Russian use of a tactical nuclear weapon. So let's not even talk about how much we trust the people in Russia responsibilities, whether or not they would or wouldn't. Let's talk about how the U.S. would respond because it's terrifying. Like once I get into this, you're going to be terrified of the decisions made during this. And this is a war. This isn't even a real scenario. This is wargaming. And it scares the shit out of me just knowing these people are in charge. So it says there were deep disagreements that led on some occasions to heated arguments. The debate broke down along two pretty important lines, said John Wolfstall, who was Barack Obama's special assistant and senior director at the National Security Council for Arms Control and Non-Proliferation. Says the first question was whether the U.S. or NATO needed to respond militarily. I feel like they do need to respond.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends.
Yeah.
Do we need to respond militarily to a border dispute that turns into like them dropping nukes on their neighbors?
Yeah.
Is that necessary for us?
Right,
Or should we stay the fuck out of it?
Right.
I mean,
I
I
my
don't know.
answer is no, we don't need to get involved.
I don't know. Says in the game, the answer was no. The U.S. was winning the conventional war. So basically, do we need to ramp things up to escalate things? In their war game, they were already winning the war. He had his back to the corner and he dropped a couple tactical nukes. And they're like, well, we don't really need to do anything else. We're already winning the fucking war.
Right.
That was kind of their conclusion they came to. It says the counter argument was that the U.S. could not afford to not respond with the nuclear weapons because of our egos, because of our status, because it actually says there were those who said if you don't use nuclear weapons, two terrible things would happen. One is all our allies would doubt our commitment.
Would they?
It's like, dude, they nuked us. You're not going to nuke them back.
Yeah.
Again, this wasn't a Ukraine thing. So
Right.
this was actually wargaming on a NATO ally. So
Gotcha.
this is if they dropped on a NATO ally. So it's
Okay.
completely separate scenario. But
Right.
still, the first thing we worry about, not do we cause destruction of the entire planet, it's what would our friends think if we didn't?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the first thing they go to. It's like, well, what are our friends going to say? They're going to think we're pussies.
Right.
It's like, I don't have a problem being called a pussy if it means not destroying the entire planet. The second is, if you don't use a nuclear weapon, how do you deter Putin from going nuclear again? You need nukes to reestablish deterrence. It's dick swinging again. I don't know. Do you think there's a way to deter Putin from nuking somebody else without nuking him? I mean, we have these awesome drones that like assassin drones.
Well, I'm sure there's plenty of there's plenty of strategic targets.
Strategery.
Yes, that you can take out without nuking somebody.
Yes, I
And
feel
to me,
like
that would be scary. That would be more productive.
yes, I feel like yeah. Just send in one of our attack drones, our assassin drones, to fly in and just like put a bullet and fly away.
Yeah,
and Putin's gone and
Right.
everything's done. Right.
right.
The problem is this: we never answered the question. We never settled the debate. It's like, well, fuck, great.
Yeah, right.
They're wargaming the shit for this specific
Yeah.
reason, and they never came to a solution. That's why I said back when they're like, "Oh, the White House is pretty vague about what the response." It's because they don't
didn't get
fucking
there.
know. They don't know what they would
got
do.
Caught up watching some meme or something, and they're like, "Oh, look, check this out."
So this gets crazy. It says the 2016 war game, first reported in The Bomb, a book by Fred Kaplan, was played twice at the level of cabinet secretary, the principals, and their deputy, and then by their deputies. So you have, you have the cabinet, like the higher ups, and then you have their deputies, and they
Right.
both played out the same scenario to see who would respond how.
Gotcha.
The principals, the higher ups in the cabinet, voted to respond with a nuclear strike. So the people at the top are like, yeah, fucking nuke.
Yeah,
Drop
right.
nukes.
Because people are they're watching us.
Yes, obviously. We gotta show dominance here. Now get this. This is the best part. They didn't strike Russia.
Oh.
So the response to Russia dropping nukes was to drop nukes, but not on Russia, in hope to avoid an all-out planet-ending nuclear exchange. Instead, they struck Belarus, arguing it was a belligerent non-combat.
Wow. That's fucked up. That is fucked up.
You know, we don't want to start a nuclear war, so we're not going to blow up Russia, the people that did this.
Right.
Just fuck Belarus. We're going to blow them up.
Yeah. The poor guy's just sitting there. He's like, whoa. I didn't know they were even used nukes. What are you doing?
Because they're a belligerent non-combatant. They're not.
Oxymoron. Belligerent non-combatant.
Well, they're probably just sitting on the side. It's like, yeah, fucking nuke them.
Yeah.
Fucking nuke them.
Yeah.
Fucking. And it's like, well, fuck. We'll
Fuck
nuke
the
you.
U.S.
Yeah.
Like,
And
oh,
so
yeah, motherfucker.
it sounds kind of like what the UK has been
Yes.
the entire
Yes.
Ukraine war, a belligerent non-combatant. So that'd be like Russia. Well, I guess Russia did threaten to.
Yeah, he did.
nuke
Markov
Great
did
Britain.
say that.
So, but how screwed up is this?
Yeah, that is very fucked
It's
up.
like, well, Putin dropped nukes. Well, we got to do something to tell the world
Yeah.
that we're not going to put up with this shit. So, yeah, Belarus looks like a good place.
Putin likes Belarus. We'll take that out. There, take that.
I had to read that like 2 or 3 times to make sure I
Yeah, right.
was getting this
I
straight.
mean, what in their infinite wisdom of wargaming,
How much military training did it take to come up with that response?
right?
That's why I said it is terrifying.
Yes.
They're wargaming. I mean, we have to laugh about it because this is,
Yeah.
nothing's gonna
But
go well.
what do they feel like Putin's response would be then?
To us nuking
Belarus. He's gonna nuke the shit out of
Yeah,
us.
because the whole point was like, if we don't nuke him, what's gonna stop Putin from nuking us again?
Yeah.
Well, let's just blow up Belarus then. Well, how's
What
that
the-
stopping Putin from blowing us
that
up
doesn't even
again?
make sense.
Now, on a positive note, the deputies, the underlings, whose opinion doesn't fucking matter, voted to not respond with nuclear weapons, arguing that the U.S. could win with conventional weapons and that nuclear use would make it much harder to isolate Putin internationally. So you can't be like, look, he used fucking nukes. He's a bad guy if we responded by blowing up Belarus.
That would be a dick move.
Says two of the officials who pushed that the option are now in the senior position. So two of those deputies, those underlings, are now in senior positions in Biden's administration. So I guess we can breathe a little easy knowing that some of these people.
So can Belarus.
Belarus. You're welcome, Belarus. You're welcome.
Wow.
It says after the war games were over, Avril Haines, the director of national intelligence, suggested having T-shirts printed with the slogan "Deputies should run the world," because they're the only ones that made smart decisions.
I mean, think about the okay, Dad. What happens if a bully punches me? Well, slap their little friend,
slap their little sister to prove a point,
right? But don't punch them because
that could escalate.
That could escalate badly.
Yeah, so just smack their little sister. That seems like the best option. The 2016 war game was set in a Baltic nation, so inside of NATO and under its protective nuclear umbrella. Ukraine stands outside the umbrella, so it still doesn't explain what our response should be if they nuke Ukraine, because it's not NATO, and they can't come back and be like, "Hey, we're your allies," because technically, you're not our allies.
Right.
Ernest Moniz, Obama's energy secretary, is reported to have voted for a nuclear response back in 2016. But he said Ukraine would be a very, very different case. He doesn't know that he would vote for a nuclear response in the case of Ukraine because we're not like contractually obligated to blow up Belarus in response to Ukraine getting nuked.
Sure.
So we got some legal gray areas here.
Yeah.
We don't legally have to respond in such a stupid manner like we did for a NATO state. He said, "I would say that if the line is crossed to nuclear use, there has to be a very, very strong response. But that response doesn't have to be nuclear." Thank God somebody's saying it. But I don't fucking know. I don't trust any of them based on these results of this war game. I really don't trust these people to even have a nuclear briefcase, nuclear football, whatever we're calling it.
But once again, I don't think that they would nuke Ukraine.
No, why would they?
They wouldn't. If anything, if they get pissed off, maybe they'll nuke Germany because everybody seems to be shitting on Germany right now.
Germany's like, God, what the fuck do we do? Or maybe they'll just be like, keep you from nuking Belarus. We're going to nuke Belarus.
Yeah, right.
Belarus like, what the fuck did we do? Everybody just nuking us for no reason. It's like nobody wants to nuke the person they're really mad at.
So they're just
Belarus. Taking it out.
They keep nuking Belarus. Oh, yeah?
It's ridiculous. The real question, I guess, today is, are nukes our real concern? Because I mentioned at the beginning, like, what if all this nuclear talk is just talk to keep us from looking at, like, we're all looking and watching to see if the nuclear submarines are moving, if the people are moving the freaking Armageddon drones into position, and we're like, no. And the whole time, they're being much, much sneakier and much smarter about their methods, because breaking news today is that apparently Russians hacked our airports today.
Yes.
Or at least it was reported today.
Yes.
Let me find that one.
Yeah. And I've always tested that if a nuke goes off, it's not going to be a first world power. It's not going to be a superpower. It's going to be some rogue state. It's going to be some NGO that uses it,
or some like crazy dictator type leader of a second world country like Kim Jong-un, which I'm going to talk about here pretty quick too. But first of all, let's talk about this Russian hack instead, because while we're talking about whether or not Putin's going to shoot nukes at us, Russian hackers, supposedly Russian-speaking hackers, I apologize. Russian-speaking hackers launched cyber attacks at various U.S. airports. First of all, do hackers like speak a language? Or are they typing in Russian?
I was gonna say, typically
coding
when
in
you
Russian?
get hacked, they don't really like speak to you.
Is the Russian coding? Is it different than English? It's
I-
got to
I-
be. It's got to be different.
Right.
But still, how hard would it be for the CIA to like type in Russian, encoded in Russian. And like that doesn't say anything. But apparently Russian speaking hackers launched cyber attacks at various US airports. It says more. This is from moneycontrol.com. It says more than a dozen airports in the US came under cyber attack on October 10th. This is scarier to me than nuclear holocaust.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, you don't even have to like lift a finger. There's no warning when something like this could happen.
Did you ever see Die Hard 2?
I saw all the Die Hards when I was laid up with gallbladder surgery. I watched them all in one day, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, the terrorists take over an airport and they fuck with the air traffic control and have that one plane land, but they change the altitude.
Yeah.
So it ends up like
crashing,
going like full speed, and that's some scary shit.
Yeah, and apparently that didn't really do much.
No.
It says more than a dozen airports. It says the attackers were Russian-speaking people and belonged to Russian Federation international media reported.
How do they know that?
I don't fucking know. I don't know, Bill. They told us. The Russian or the international media reported on it, so it's got to be
beautiful.
true.
Yes.
Although the systems were targeted do not handle transportation security, air traffic control, or internal airline communication and coordination, the attacks left public-facing web domains inaccessible, resulting in congestion and extended airport wait times. That's a tragedy for us first world people. It's like,
yeah, right.
Dude, I had to wait an extra.
Well, it's fucking LaGuardia. That's a nightmare when it's not.
Des Moines International Airport here in Iowa got hit too.
Oh, did it
apparently.
really?
Yeah, it says LaGuardia, Des Moines, Los Angeles, and Chicago. Why did they go O'Hare, Los Angeles, LaGuardia,
Des Moines?
and Des Moines International
Yeah,
Airport?
right. Why not Casey?
Unless they're just trying to hit different sections of the U.S.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
Yeah, but yeah, KC or St. Louis would be, or Detroit's kind of Midwest. That's much
Dallas
bigger.
is a huge one.
Yeah, I don't fucking know, but Des Moines got hit. But it wasn't a big deal, except for us first world people that are like, man, I gotta wait in a very long. My flight got delayed for like 6 hours.
Yeah,
It's like,
it was 6 hours and now it's 8. Thank you, Russians.
This is as bad as a nuclear holocaust.
Yeah, right.
I'd rather be sitting through a nuclear holocaust. You see people on Twitter. It's like, flight delayed 4 hours. I would rather be sitting through a nuclear holocaust, literally right now. Hashtag this sucks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, first world problems. I mean, they know how to hit us below the belt.
Right. Yeah.
Like make things inconvenient for us.
Yes.
That's the worst problem.
That is the worst for the United States. Yes.
It's like, oh, how could it? I mean,
really, Starbucks can't get me my triple mocha latte.
Yeah, that's the next hack is going to be Starbucks or, I mean, if they hacked social media and shut it down, man, we'd lose our damn
People would be
minds.
jumping off buildings.
But if this is Russia and isn't like the U.S., like a false flag type attack, because I feel like if it was a false flag attack, they would have done something slightly larger than just like congesting waiting lines.
We've been expecting something since they did their cyber attack war games last summer.
True. Yes. Yeah. But if this was Russia, to me, it is Russia saying, look what we can do.
Yeah.
We don't even need, they're typing this in Russian,
of course, obviously.
We don't even need nukes and we can fuck you up completely. We don't even have to push a button. We don't have to, we don't even have to use hardly any money.
Yeah.
Like it's millions of dollars to shoot a nuke. It's like basically free.
Right.
I mean, how much is internet in Russia? I mean, it can't be that bad.
Well, it's government ran.
They probably had just logged into, like, got close to the border and logged into the Skylink.
There
like,
you go.
Starlink.
Starlink.
Yeah. Thank you, Elon Musk. And so, they just hack in. They shut shit down.
Yeah.
We go into chaos. Nobody had to blow anybody up.
Yeah. And that, to me, yes, that is the bigger threat because it keeps the world balanced, right? It doesn't wipe out the whole population.
Right. I feel like more catastrophe could be caused without nukes via the internet, via hacking and shutting down infrastructure, and much more efficient than the possible risks of blowing the entire freaking world up.
Yeah, right.
It's like,
and what's the what's revenge on that? We're going to
hack you back.
Yeah, we're gonna hack you back.
Well, we just shut down your servers, so you can't even hack us back, bitches.
Right.
It's like shit. What are we gonna do now? I guess we're gonna nuke them.
Yeah,
that's probably what it comes down to.
That is exactly it.
So, I don't know. Like, who do you think Sporlight? You think the Russians did this, or do you think we did it, or do you think just some dumbass in their
It's
mom's
fucking
basement?
Ukraine.
think it was Zelensky.
Zelensky's
God
like,
damn it.
hack the U.S. We need to get them back over here.
Yeah, we need to piss them
We
off
need
again.
more CIA guys over here.
No, I could see this being Russia being like, we told you we were going to use weapons. We didn't
Yeah.
say which weapons.
Right.
Here you go.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, that maybe.
Do you feel safe now? I feel less safe knowing that they can hack our airport security,
Right.
our airport systems, than I do knowing that he's had nukes forever.
Right.
I don't feel less safe
Right.
just because Joe Biden came out. It's like, oh, we're so much closer to
Right.
nuclear.
Yeah.
But when it came out today, oh, Russian hackers hacked our airports. Like,
Well,
that's
was
bad.
60 years ago.
Yeah.
Like 60 years ago that the Cuban Missile Crisis, all right, technology has evolved incredibly. And we can get
slightly, yeah.
Yes, and we can get fucked so much more
Yeah.
without nukes.
Yeah, that's kind of what my thought was. It's just like with technology, what it is today, why would you ever resort to nukes when you could
That's Stone
resort
Age shit.
to hacking? Exactly. That's like, using like freaking catapults and rocks versus like rifles and machine guns. It's like, why would you do that when you can do things so much quicker and easier? And,
All these F students now got A's.
Yeah, some freaking nerd in his grandma's basement. Putin just gets on the phone and it's like, hey, I know you're busy with World of Warcraft, but can you do me a favor? He's like,
right.
Man, I just got into this freaking kick-ass guild. Can it wait? It's like, no, man, we got to do this. It's like, fine, give me a second. All right, it's done.
Yeah.
And U.S. is in chaos because their freaking airline shut down.
Right.
And it, not to mention, like you were saying, get into like flight control, like hacking a flight control, and planes start crashing into freaking like skyscrapers and shit.
Right.
Again, so,
running into each other.
Yeah, who knows? It's just like,
I mean, it can be so much worse.
Right. I don't think they need nukes to really cause mass chaos here.
And again,
and I think they know it too.
They, if you shoot a nuke, it's like, okay, shit, Russia just shot off a nuke, but you hack, then you can deny that shit.
Mhm.
Oh, we didn't know anything about that shit.
Yeah, I mean, all you got to say is, they're Russian, but we're not connected to that. I mean, you don't got too many freaking rogue nuclear explosive experts out there that are out blowing up things that
there's
you can't
hella
type.
hackers out there.
Yeah, tons, especially in Russia.
Yeah.
The real question, another side question, is why are we so focused on Russia and nuclear holocaust when we literally have North Korea shooting missiles over Japan the last couple weeks?
I thought Dennis Rodman took care of that.
I thought, Trump kind of did too, but then Biden comes in, it's like, nah, we're shutting that shit
That's
down.
why we need Trump back.
Yeah, we need
Trump and Rodman.
Rodman for vice president.
Oh my gosh,
absolutely. That
definitely.
would be the ticket to end all elections, which is not a good thing. So apparently, North Korea is saying that all their tests, as of lately, which they've shot off like 7 this month, and they've shot off like, I think like 25 this year. All of these are practice for tactical strikes, nuclear strikes on South Korea. Again, on a fucking neighbor. The difference is I could fucking see Kim Jong-un doing this, though.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I couldn't see Putin doing it because he's too calculated.
Yes.
He's not a loose cannon type.
Yes.
Kim Jong-un, on the other hand,
he's the definition
He's
of
what
loose
you're
cannon.
talking about.
Yes.
Like, if it's going to come from somewhere, it's going to come from some like second, third world country. There you go. North Korea has nothing really to. Do they have anything to lose? Really? Not a whole lot.
No.
So it's just like, I mean, it just makes sense. Just blow up our neighbors right there. I mean, and he's got a god complex already, so he'll survive.
Thinks he's invincible.
Jack Skellington says, this is from back in our hacker talk, which was a couple minutes ago. This is old news, but that's all right. I missed the comment. It says, what's that one movie where they have some sort of hacker program that hacks anything and they start crashing airplanes and the billionaires were trying to buy it black market? You would know that before I would.
Yeah,
it sounds like a good movie, though.
It does sound like
sounds awesome. If you find out, let us know.
Is it a Black Hat with Chris with Thor?
Oh, Chris
Hemsworth. Yeah.
Huh. I haven't seen that one. I don't know. I'll have to check it out. I will find out and I will get back to you promptly. Or I probably won't because I'll forget.
I'll remember.
There you go. Beto is here. He says North Korea may conduct nuclear tests between October 16th to November 7th. That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, all this talk that we're saying, why the hell Why the hell would Vladimir Putin do this? None of this applies to Kim Jong-un because he is the definition of a loose cannon.
Right.
So, but the difference is this. Biden's not coming out and saying anything about him.
North Korea, yeah.
Yeah. Putin comes
he's
out.
not sexy. He's not the sexy option.
But it's gotta be because it goes against their agenda of anti-Russia agenda,
Absolutely.
like take out Putin agenda, whatever the agenda is against Russia. This doesn't apply to it. But for some reason, Biden gets up and has his big speech moment against Putin, who just said, we're not ruling out anything. That's basically all he said. And he's like, oh, nuclear Armageddon. Well, then Kim Jong-un is literally over there saying, we're practicing to blow them the fuck up.
Yeah.
And
South
Biden's just like looking over here and over here. He's like, I don't know what that noise was, Jack.
Yeah, right.
Nobody's saying anything.
And because he doesn't care about South Korea. I mean, let's be honest.
Does anybody care about South? I mean, we did in the 50s, but
that's when they were sexy.
Yeah,
they're not sexy anymore. That was in the 50s.
So is there anything else? There's probably nothing else in this article besides that. It says the Kim regime has tested 7 times since September 25th and 25 events since this year. So the highest since 2017. Well, there you go. Trump got him to stop shooting shit. And then Biden came to office, and he's probably pissed that Biden's ignoring him.
Oh, probably.
Like he's that kid that wants attention. It's like, why are you looking at Russia? I'm over here. I'm literally shooting shit in the air. I'm going to blow up my neighbor too. He's like, I'm over here. I'm blowing shit up. And Biden's like, oh, Putin over here. And Kim's like, come on, can I get any attention?
Who does the guy have to blow up?
Like, do you know how much attention I got from Trump? I'm getting no attention from you. Beto says the war with Russia and Ukraine has strengthened the West's enemies. Well, obviously. We that's what we have. That's what we do is we strengthen our enemies. We don't strengthen ourselves. We strengthen our enemies
or our allies.
So again, I don't think it's part of this agenda.
No.
So
yeah,
they're not going to focus on it,
which is sad though, you know. And you know, I was reading a thing where they were talking about how apparently they're using drones from Iran in Ukraine.
Oh yeah.
And so they're wondering, like, okay, is this going to change Biden's stance on giving them nuclear?
So Ukraine's using the drones from Iran?
No, Russia's using the Iranian drones against the Ukrainians.
Okay.
So,
but is Ukraine using our drones?
I believe
against the Russians?
Probably.
And who fucking cares?
It's a thing.
Okay. Speaking of the agenda, though, this former senator, U.S. senator, says that globalists are marching us towards nuclear Armageddon. That's like basically he thinks they're kind of either intentionally marching us towards nuclear Armageddon, or they just don't give a fuck. All they care about is their war profits.
Sure.
If people die in the process, at least they made a bunch of money doing it.
That's how it's always been.
His question is kind of what we were talking about. Like, this is a border dispute. His question was, this is Senator Black. Or former Senator Black. What's his first name? Hang on just a sec. Let me look this shit up.
Is it Jack?
Jack Black. No. Richard Black is a retired Virginia state senator and retired Marines colonel. His question is, should we annihilate the entire world's population to intervene in a border war with the U.S. where the U.S. has no vital national interest?
Yeah, right.
It's like, even if they nuked Ukraine, it's like, do we really want to have nuclear Armageddon over a border dispute?
Yeah.
And basically he's saying we've kind of pushed this way further than we should have to begin with. Because he says NATO had ample opportunity for peace, but deliberately chose war. The U.S. realized that with Russia's back to the wall, it would have no choice but to attack. In 2007, U.S. Ambassador to Russia, William Burns, pointedly warned that movement towards absorbing Ukraine into NATO might well trigger a war between Ukraine and Russia. Nonetheless, the Obama administration overthrew the Ukrainian president and flooded in weapons, knowing that doing so could trigger a war. So he's basically saying, hey, they've been wanting to make profit off this. This is what they've been pushing them towards to begin with.
Yeah.
Or since day one, since Obama administration overthrew back in 2014 or whatever. Right. I mean, this guy's got a bullet target on the back of his head right
Right.
now, calling all this shit out. Man, there's a spider. Black called for an immediate end to this war by making Ukraine a neutral, non-aligned state, just as we did during the Cold War with Austria in 1955. So I don't know. Do you think they're intentionally sending us towards this? And if they are, what would be the reasoning? Like, why would you, if your idea is to rule the world, why would you push us towards nuclear Armageddon?
No, I think you called it like back at the beginning of this shit. The intention is to take out Putin.
I think so. Yeah.
You know,
I think him look as bad and scary as possible, and it especially if his hands on the nuclear.
What's scarier than somebody with their hands on a nuke?
Yeah, it's like the WMDs all over again.
Absolutely.
We got to go take them out because again, did we not learn anything from Iraq? What evidence do we have that his finger is on the nuclear?
We may have learned, but they never learned.
They never learned.
They are always doing the same shit.
Yes. So I think there's a lot of profit to be made in war, and if they can continue to escalate it, and Russia kind of stands in the way from all this great agenda that they have going on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But again, you know, if Emmanuel Macron is criticizing Biden for escalating shit, it's probably not good. Like, he's coming out and saying, hey, guys, is this really what we want to do?
Nobody wants to get chastised by France.
It's yeah. How big of a blow is that for France to come out and be like, you're not doing it right. You need to do better, guys.
Yeah.
It's like France, of all people, France. Because he says responding to Biden's comments about Armageddon, while at the European Union summit in Prague on Friday, Macron said, we must speak with prudence when commenting on such matters. He goes on to say, resolving the war in Ukraine needed to include de-escalation and a solution that is acceptable to the leaders and the people of Ukraine. So basically saying, we got to de-escalate, not escalate the shit. This is kind of ridiculous. And at the same time, even Trump is coming out and saying, you're getting a little carried away here.
That should be the wake-up call right there.
Macron, that's no surprise.
Yeah.
They're kind of pussies.
Right.
But when Trump, the guy who supposedly had his finger on the button, like itchy finger the whole time, like the whole 4 years, supposedly. Because you sent me that article where they're like, for 4 years, we were basically on the brink of nuclear holocaust with Trump. But Trump comes out and is like, you're getting a little carried away there. Maybe we should talk about not blowing up the entire world. I mean, can we? I just built a tower over there, a new Trump tower in Ukraine, and I would really rather you didn't get like blow that shit up. So let's tone it down a bit. When Trump is telling you to tone down your rhetoric, you done fucked up.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. You crossed the line.
Because this says Trump warns that the U.S. is saying exactly the wrong thing to Russia. You know what the anti-Trumpers are going to be? It's like,
my gosh, yes.
Obviously, it's because he's a Putin. He's
obviously
pro-Putin.
He's taking Putin's side.
He only doesn't want us to blow the entire world up because he's taking sides with Putin.
That's exactly it.
That's how they will spin this shit. That's how fucked up this is. Because he says they're saying the wrong things. After President Biden's threat or talks about Armageddon, says Trump said the U.S. should be urging Russia and Ukraine to negotiate peace and warned the conflict could be headed towards World War III without more careful approach. Trump.
Yes.
The
negotiate peace.
Yeah. The war hungry, like supposedly, this is what they said. They like, he, you remember, what was it, General Milley that went to China? It was like, look, if Trump shoots nukes at you, I'll give you a call.
Right,
I'll give you a warning.
He called their Secretary of Defense or something like that. Or
it's like, look, if I mean, I'm not saying it's gonna, but if it does, I'll give you a call. I'll give you an advance warning. Yeah. This guy that they portrayed as itchy finger, push the button Trump, that he never should have had the nuclear football to begin with. This guy is telling you, can we not talk about nukes? Can we not talk about Armageddon? Can we not talk about blowing the whole world up? Because that's really bad for my profits. I mean, come on. I know it's all self-serving for him to not want to blow the fucking world up, but he makes a couple good points there.
And he's hoping to become president again in a couple of years, you know?
Well, yeah, obviously. But
he wants to make sure there's still a country to be president.
Yes, clearly. Or a world to be a ruler of.
That's true. Yes.
So you had sent me an article. I'm not going to get into it, but this article stated that Armageddon warnings, this from the Washington Post, the Armageddon warning that Biden said wasn't like from actual evidence. It was reflection of Biden's instincts about Putin. So it's like, you know, I know, Jack. I know this Putin guy. No, I'm serious. I know this
guy
Putin.
like him in Scranton.
I
His name's Corn Pop.
I know this guy really good, really well, and this they're saying he's reflecting on his instincts about Putin.
Should you trust Biden's instincts?
That's
about
what
anything?
my next question was. Are we really trusting Biden's instincts on, like you said, anything, let alone on nuclear holocaust?
Yeah.
Like the guy gets lost on the stage every time he's on the
Right.
stage, doesn't know where to go, where to exit. The guy who shit his pants in front of the
right.
Pope, the guy who
followed Obama around.
Yeah. No, he didn't. He got lost in the corner while Kamala Harris was basically on her knees in front of Obama. Biden was lost in the corner, but we should trust his instincts about who Putin is when he refers to nuclear Armageddon.
Yes.
That's what we're going off of here.
You know what George W. Bush's instincts were about Putin? Yes, he said he looked this man in his eyes.
I looked him in the eyes.
And he saw a brother. A brother in Christ. Yes.
Wow.
And so he said, this is a man that I'm willing to deal with. So,
now,
although he called him Pootie. He called him Pootie.
He did call him Pootie.
He called him Pootie.
He had to call him Pootie. Now, during that time, we were kind of not arch enemies with Russia.
We were like buddy with them.
Yeah, probably because we were blowing up brown people together.
Right.
I mean,
that's true.
We definitely have an on again, off again relationship with Russia.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's love hate.
Yeah, there was all of the Cold War. We were off.
Yes.
And then we were kind of on through the
it was Rocky IV
mid 90s a little bit.
Yeah.
And then obviously in 99, Putin takes over on December 31st, 1999, immediately before Y2K. And then all of a sudden we're feel terror because Alex Jones said he launched nukes at the United States. Well, then you didn't hear a ton of it until I don't know, probably roughly about the time that we overthrew the Ukrainian democratically elected person
I think
and put in a pro NATO
Yes.
person. And then Putin's like, all right, this has gotten a little out of hand here.
That was, I believe that was the downturn in our relationship.
Yeah. Well, when did Crimea get annexed? That was
right after the Olympics.
Which was,
I think it was, let's see, was that,
who knows?
Was that 2014?
Let me look. Crimea.
Jack said that was
annexed.
355. Is that the all-female cast one?
355. You know, it's a good one. It was an all-female cast. The annexation of Crimea. Well, not in 1783, I don't think.
1441.
Yeah, 2014, February. So probably the same, in response.
I think, yes.
I think we talked about this,
I
actually.
think we did too, yeah.
Because Crimea was just like, we didn't vote for that guy. We don't like it. And then it was just, that was kind of the Civil War type.
Yeah. And that's why he went into Crimea, is because the Russian citizens there were felt like second-class citizens.
Yeah. So yeah, it sounds like that's probably about when all the tension kicked back off between us and Russia.
Yes.
So I don't know. Thanks, Obama, for that.
Yeah, right.
So how much of this should we take serious? How much of this nuclear Armageddon talk should we actually? Is there a point where we should be like, we should probably worry about this and pay attention to this?
Okay, two options here. Either they're using it as a distraction to take their minds off of inflation, right? There's a pyramid in Ukraine.
Jack Skellington says you just derailed my thought.
Mine too.
Jack Skellington, why the fuck is there a pyramid in Ukraine?
Right?
Interesting.
Yes.
Maybe that's why everybody wants Ukraine, because of the
could be.
damn pyramid. Is it a space portal?
Maybe. Remains
a time
of
portal?
Gilgamesh.
I don't know. Who knows?
So yeah, either they're using it as a distraction, right, to take our minds off the inflation or all that shit, or they are planning something in-house here to do
for false flag type motives.
Yes.
Like what Jack Skellington was saying about the
Yes.
freaking the EMPs.
Yeah.
Jack Skellington says China is dumb as fuck and tries to hide theirs. Tries to hide their what? Their pyramids? China has pyramids too?
There are pyramids all over the face of
What
the
the
earth.
heck? They look fucking ridiculous and stand out. What do they do? They just like
Put a Christmas tree on top.
they just put some fake grass on
Yeah,
it
right.
or
Some lights.
Yeah, some Chinese dragons around
there
it. It's
you
like
go.
there's nothing here.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into these pyramids all over the place.
Right. There's one at the bottom of a lake in middle of Wisconsin.
But what the hell?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. How did we get on?
I don't know. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So that in my thought, that's one of the two ways they're looking to go.
Which more likely?
Distraction.
Yeah.
I think so.
What was the first one again? I got derailed by the pyramids.
No, it's fine. Either it was distracting us from the all right, I gotta stop looking at the comments. Either distraction from inflation, or it's going to be or it's a false flag type thing.
Mm.
Either that, or they're trying to raise up the fear so much against Putin is that
we have to
take
we
Putin
have
out.
to.
We have no choice because he is a danger to the world.
Yeah.
Much like Hussein.
I mean, or maybe to draw like support to put Ukraine into NATO, to draw us
Right.
into war against Putin,
Well, I
one
mean,
way or another,
yeah.
to draw us into war. Because if they try to say that Russia is threatening nukes on Ukraine, which again, why the fuck would he do that? He's not Kim Jong-un. The guy said that one guy,
Markov.
no, when they were wargaming, the Obama head guy
right.
said that, well, it'd be a different story with Ukraine because they're not NATO. So that's pretty telling to be like, well, they're a nuclear threat. We're not going to be able to do anything until we get them into NATO. So maybe we should push them into NATO quicker. And then maybe it's all just a freaking ploy to get them into NATO so that we can actually justify going to war.
Well, but I mean, since this process has started, I mean, we have gained 2 new NATO members, right?
Yes.
So
maybe it's just to
it's
a marketing
drive.
scheme. Yeah, a recruiting marketing scheme to get.
Oh, well, you can't help Ukraine because they're not a member, but if you guys join us, we can help out. So,
but fuck Belarus.
Yeah,
that's what this all comes down to.
Belarus is going down no matter what.
Fuck Belarus.
That's all there is
Belarus
to
is
say.
like,
Sorry,
can
Belarus.
we join? Can we
Yeah,
join?
right.
No, fuck you, Belarus.
Yeah.
It's like, why does everybody hate Belarus?
I know. I feel like I need to research this.
I do too. I want to know why exactly they made the tactical decision.
They lose their luggage at some point on a trip, and it's like, no,
bomb
fuck Belarus.
Oh my gosh, I don't know a lot about Belarus, but I feel like even if I knew everything about Belarus, I still wouldn't be able to justify why the U.S.
I feel like that's like probably England's plan and France's plan to be like, well, no, we're gonna nuke Belarus.
This whole thing has just been a plot.
Yes.
To mess up Belarus because everybody hates Belarus,
Yes.
and it's just like, well. Let's push Putin to launch the first nuclear weapon. Then we have a reason to nuke.
Then Belarus
and then
is done.
They're like, then we have a reason to nuke Belarus, and everybody looks around like, how is that a reason? Just go with it.
Yeah, we war gamed this. This is the way to do it.
Yeah, this makes the most tactical sense. None of this makes sense.
I want to know how they became senior people.
Well, yeah, if it's how you froze, there you are. If it's how it is in the military. Not saying everybody in the military, but a lot of people in the military. It seems like a lot of the smarter individuals like get the fuck out, and a lot of the less smart people like get their way up to the top. Not all. I have friends that have stayed in super smart friends that have stayed in for years and years and years. But a lot of the higher ups that I worked under, I'm just like, how the fuck are you even here? Yeah. And then I realized, well, you were probably had no hope of making it anywhere else, so you stayed. And so
you've seen that movie Heartbreak Ridge with Clint Eastwood, right? Okay, so you have him. He's gunny. He's been in for a long time.
Yeah.
He's got the medals. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then you got the officer above him who's like a football hero. He wants to take pictures of the war zone and shit.
That's
right.
Officers in a nutshell, basically. And that's probably how these senior people make it in politics. Is they're just fucking idiots that just never got out of it, and they're just like,
wouldn't it be great if we had a war?
Yeah. Right. What if we blew up Belarus? That's all I got to say about this. Do you think we're on the brink of nuclear holocaust?
No. I think we're on the brink of getting our shit hacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all of it? Like all our shit in
No,
one?
there's like minor inconveniences here and there. Shit that'll piss people off.
I feel like the big one is coming when it comes to hacks, though.
Yeah,
I feel like
there is going to be like a power grid or something that's going to be shut down.
It's not going to take that big either.
No.
Like you shut down a small section and like supply lines go nuts. Like we talked about the hacking on the East Coast that like shut down a good chunk of the food industry for like a third of the United States just from shutting down the communication line on one section of the East Coast.
Yeah.
It's like, how little would you have to shut down to cause really, really big problems for the United States?
Yeah.
And how much more damage would that do than setting off a tactical nuke on Ukraine?
Yeah.
I feel like there's more big picture things out there than what they're leaning on here. Jack Skellington says, "Do you guys pay attention to Boston Dynamics?"
I do not.
I don't either. It sounds familiar, but I don't pay attention to Boston Dynamics.
Yeah.
I feel like we should, apparently, because Jack Skellington asked us to.
Absolutely.
So now I'm going to.
Definitely.
Anyways, I feel like this is a good place to stop.
Yes.
I don't think like this isn't a fear porn episode by any stretch. If you've listened at all until this point, you'll know that
we're calling this one bullshit.
We're calling that even if we got a frowny face from Jack Skellington
because of Boston Dynamics,
we don't follow them. We will from now on.
Yeah,
Jack.
definitely.
I'm gonna go look it up
know that
now.
was a thing.
I didn't either. Anyways, God, I keep getting get out of the comments here. Thanks for jumping in, Jack. We love the comments and stuff. We love the back and forth
so much that we keep getting into
it. It's not that I click out of there because I hate your comments. It's I click out of there because I love them too much, and I got to wrap the show up somewhere. I have no idea where I was here. Oh, you said we're calling bullshit on this one.
Yeah.
I am too. I don't think Armageddon's coming.
Yeah.
I feel like this is probably like you said at the beginning, an off the cuff remark from Biden, and his handlers couldn't backpedal on it without making the U.S. look like a bunch of pussies.
Right.
So they're like, yeah, this is a real thing. But this is actually Biden's instincts about Putin because he's got these deep
After 50
instincts.
years in public service. He knows. He knows how to read Putin.
Biden knows a bad dude when he sees a bad dude. If anybody knows bad dudes, it's Joe Biden because he knew Corn Pop and he was a really bad dude. That's all the time we got for this week. Thanks for everybody who joined. Thanks for everybody who commented, specifically Jack Skellington, because now I have a bunch more topics I got to go research because you kept us
pyramids and Boston Dynamics.
Yes, I'm going to look up both of those. Probably at the same time.
Don't watch 355.
Don't watch that. So if you have any comments or concerns or questions, the comment section is always open. Do you think we are on the brink of nuclear holocaust or nuclear Armageddon? Is Armageddon worse than Holocaust?
Holocaust comes after the Armageddon.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Armageddon's the beginning of a Holocaust.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
Yeah.
See, I did learn something today.
Yes.
Armageddon comes before Holocaust.
Yes.
Are we on the brink of Armageddon, leading us to a nuclear Holocaust? Or is this just a bunch of noise to keep us looking in the wrong direction? Most likely that, but let us know what you think. We're going to get out of here. Make sure you check us out all over social media while it's not nuked.
Yes.
Because we get nuked.
Or
hacked or all those things. You can find us at Break the Bell Pod on all the major social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Otherwise, you can find us all over the podcast platforms. If you want to throw in your earbuds and listen later, if you didn't get to see the whole show or you don't have time, plug us into your earbuds and let us just make your life better.
Yes.
Yeah, do that. All over the podcast platforms. We'll talk to you next week. Make sure you show up next week for another fun episode. Same time, same channel, every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Or show up for the weekend wrap-up, which is where on the weekend we wrap up your week. Also live. We don't have a specified time. It's usually on Sunday. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have me and my brother, Dan Smots of The System Is Down, have our morning show, the Two Scoops show, Morning News, where we just shoot the shit first thing in the morning. It's a short form episode, not this 2.5 hour bullshit that we do on Mondays. So if you can't sit through something like this, that's the show for you. Mondays and Thursdays, if we feel like it, make sure you show up for that.
It's a good way to start the day.
That's in a couple hours from now. So set your clocks for 7 p.m. 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Show up for the Two Scoops Morning News. Otherwise, have a great rest of your week. We will talk to you next time.
Peace.
Goodbye.
The Break the Bell podcast is brought to you by you. So pat yourself on the back because without you, we would be talking to ourselves. A special thanks to our Patreon members, Justin Zielinski, Remzo Martinez, Stephanie Parker, and T.O. Jacobson. A shout out to our sponsors, Run Your Mouth Coffee, the On the Run podcast, and Goulash Media. If you'd like to help support us, visit patreon.com/breakthebell or buy our garbage at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Get back here next week and let us continue to invade your ear holes. And as always, never stop talking.